Adam, your character, you're still playing a farmer?
That's my plan. Yeah, I was kind of thinking about trying to flesh out a fisherman, but it was just too complicated. So I went with farmer. So similarly, probably wouldn't have any armor. As far as weapons, maybe a sling.
Your character is going to be the hardest one for me to tie in. So
tie into the locale or tie in just in general?
Just in general. I don't want you to. I want you to keep the character. I just any ideas why you're in the city because I didn't see a background for your guy.
Yeah, my thought was he's kind of a new immigrant bringing because he basically as a farmer, kind of a farm hand, like overseer of slaves and freemen. He's a freeman himself. New immigrant to Constantinople in support of kind of this transition period, creating this whole new capital for the empire. That they're going to need a food source in the locality, and there's kind of, relative to the size of the metropolis, there's not the infrastructure in place. And so he's basically been brought in kind of as a agriculture expert to help facilitate the development of better agriculture to help support the city in that area.
Can I posit an idea?
Absolutely.
How old is your character?
25.
You'd probably be too young to have a son old enough to serve in the military. How about a brother?
Yes, brother would be great. Yep.
How about you have a brother in the Lydian frontier?
Okay.
And he updates you weekly via letters as to what's going on. You're very close for some reason as to yet be decided.
Yeah,
and,
no, that's great because I was going to do family members of some kind, but I can emphasize brother rather than parents.
Family can be your special. I forget what they call it. What is it called, Jason? Where you have your part of your background into one item
significant
that's like
people, meaningful.
Yes. Yeah. There's one that's like the key element to your character. Yeah. If you do that, I think you can tie it in really well.
Yeah, that sounds great.
Actually, this will work out quite nicely. So I'm going to say. Your brother is posted at the Gillian Outpost on the Lydian frontier, and he's been updating you weekly as to what's going on. We're going to leave it at that for now. And
good enough.
This is going to be awesome. Matt, where's your character? He is an active part of the Legion, or what's his story?
My character?
Mm-hmm.
No, he's not a part of the Legion at all. He's sort of a, He's only had his freedom for a very short period of time. I mean, that number's obviously, I've said a year, but that number's obviously flexible based on, whether or not that coincides with the story. But essentially, he, as a young man of 18, he was a Gothic scout somewhere on the frontier. Part of a raiding party somewhere on the frontier of the Empire, and unfortunately for him was captured at the age of 18 and forced into slavery as a gladiator in the gladiatorial games.
Man, that is a theme with this. Every character seems to have been pressed into whatever life they currently have. I'm sorry.
Hey, I've got nil.
So he.
Okay.
I just lost him.
He was
hitting the reconnect button is what did it now.
He managed to live to the age of 30 miraculously, which is a rare thing for a gladiator. But one night, mysteriously, his master just let all of his combatants go. He came to his cell somewhat in a trance, saying that an angel of God had come to him in a dream and told him to let all of his gladiators go. And as he was saying this, as Sidgeric was staring through the window of his cell door, he could see the silhouette of this angel or whatever it was in the shadows whispering to his master. And for the first time in a long time, he felt fear.
It was Cthulhu.
Up his spine. So, yeah, it was definitely Cthulhu. So,
Definitely
as soon as the door was open, he fled and didn't look back. And he's kind of been scraping by as a as a hired, bodyguard / hired thug, whatever. It's really his only skill set at this point. So
How about
now
this?
got him.
How about he worked his way down to Constantinople, and he was hired by the Legion to help train the raw recruits.
Okay.
So he's like basically a punching bag for the recruits, but he's so good, he's just like, he's like
Right.
fighting like 6 or 7 of them at a time and taking them down.
Yeah. No, that's fine.
Shane.
Yeah. Here, give me 1 second, guys. Sorry.
Oh, are we
Okay.
also like giving like introductions? Like, is that what this turned into?
That's what's going on right now. It's go time.
Okay, can we like recap on like character names real quick? Because I have no idea about Adam or Matt's character
Yeah,
names.
so I have a cheat sheet, actually.
Yeah. So my character's name is his gothic name is Sigeric or Sigeric, and that would likely be in Latinized would be Sigericus.
Adam is Decimus.
Decius.
Sorry about that, guys.
Had to go make your character real quick.
Unfortunately, your character has now got to get moved to the deceased
No,
characters
no.
folder.
No, he had to go help his roommate order food again.
No, yeah. Along those lines, my guy. Along those lines.
You're like, dial 911.
Had to fold his laundry for him.
Dude, let's not talk about it.
So
Alright.
Shane, is your character? You're playing Centurion, right?
Yes, Centurion. I was thinking of something along the lines of heading to Constantinople, since he is a member of the House Aquilus. He is of a more respected household. I was thinking something along the lines of going to visit a new villa purchased by his father, the head of the household in Constantinople. He is on leave at the moment from the campaign against the Goths. So, as a
You and Matt should get along well then.
yes, and so that's what I was thinking. He's in Constantinople, visiting the villa, tidying things up.
But he's still part of the Legion, so
Yes, he's still in active duty.
he can get reassigned as the Legion.
Yes, because he's currently on leave, but yes, he can. My duty still falls along with the Legion, so
Right, the Magister knows him.
yep, duty first.
And that's Tiberius is his name?
Yeah,
Yes.
Tiberius.
Okay, Neil, what brings your character? Oh, state your character's name so that everyone knows who's who. And what brings you to Constantinople?
My character's name is Arviscar. He came to Constantinople after he was picked up as an auxiliary by the Legion. As is, best way to define it is he grew up, in the Balearic Islands. His thing was, he learned how to use slings, both to kill the time. Sometimes just watching over the herds gets boring. And, also to drive off the occasional, predatory animal. It was once, once he was a teenager, like about 14 or so, that, a pirate attack against the island came. And, one of the legates saw him basically using his sling to kill a few of the pirates assaulting the place. So, the Roman Legion told him, so, you want gold? You want money? You want lands? Join the Legion. And now I'd assume that he ended up in Constantinople, wondering still if he has to regret having taken that offer of, or if life has been treating him well so far. How old
Well,
am I?
thus far, Constantinople is a cherry assignment because the city's conquered, and this is during the time period where Constantine is building a second outer wall outside because, first of all, he loves the city. Like, Constantine loves the city, and he wants to change the name of it to Nova Roma, but kind of like the name is stuck. Constantinople, which stands for Constantine City. But his fear was if he was able to get over the walls, then anyone else will. So there's a second wall being built. That's like the only real construction that's going on in the city during this time. So being assigned there is pretty good, especially the time period that we're covering now, which is, this opens up on March the 10th, which is approximately a month or so before the dedication of the city, which takes place on the 2nd of April. All right, Trevor, you're up.
Yeah, so I am playing Gregorios, who is a son of Arctoi of Philippi. He is a Greek native, born on the island of Thassos in the city of Philippi. And his father was a very brutal statesman and a slave trader to the Romans. So he would basically send people off to be slaves for the Romans. And he never grew up with his mother because his mother died during childbirth. And his father kind of had this very like better them than us kind of philosophy, and Gregorios really hated that concept. And as he grew older, he kind of distanced himself from his father. But in school, he was very interested in the philosophies of the Stoics, and kind of developed a disdain for government, a disdain for authority and for hierarchy and structure of that kind. And as he grew older, he began to kind of develop his own philosophies and his own concepts. And when he eventually left school and he moved to Athens to kind of pursue his writing and his philosophy further among higher academics, if you will. And he wrote his first major work, which was called The Natural Society, and essentially it emphasized and consecrated his beliefs in society's need to remove itself from states, from cities, from government, and kind of function more as just a cooperative group of people without hierarchy, without poverty, wealth, war, that kind of thing. And he garnered quite a following for a while. They called themselves the Anarchikoi, which very clearly comes out to anarchists, essentially. And they kind of grew pretty rapidly, but they were squashed very quickly by the Roman Empire. So when Gregorios was 30, which was about 10 years ago from the start of our game, he was arrested by the Roman military for treason against the empire and forced to be a teacher for various Roman nobility and their children. And so essentially his sentence was for life, but he was noticed by the Magister Militum of Constantinople, who then essentially requested that he be the personal teacher of his son. So they've moved to Constantinople, and he now lives with the Magister Militum in his home in Constantinople, teaching his son. That's kind of where I'm at now. And I guess that's him. Brutal son of a bitch.
Yeah, rather severe looking, huh?
Oh, dude, he looks like a neo-Nazi.
And in case anyone's curious, my backup character is this guy's kid.
Matt left, but Jason, you can regale us
Right.
with the tale of your character.
I am playing Nias.
Oh, I'm sorry,
Sempronius.
Jason. I don't mean to cut
Yeah.
you off, but if everyone could change their names like how Adam did, so I can see who's who,
Oh, yeah.
Alright.
that would be helpful.
Can do.
Adam, why you gotta do us like that?
He played you, son.
Making me do more work.
You each lose a sanity point for not doing that.
I would
Alright,
be the
well,
first one
I'll do mine in
confused,
just
so
a second
I'm
here.
just trying to help everyone else out. So I don't look like an idiot.
But the best is when Matt comes back, everyone's will be changed, and he's gonna feel like the odd man out.
right, so I am playing Gnaeus Sempronius Lentulus, 22-year-old male born in the city of Ravenna, future home of the, I guess, Western Roman Empire. Gnaeus is from a patrician family. At a young age, inducted into the College of Augurs by his father. It was kind of a path to power for him, even though the Augurs in the late Roman Empire were kind of falling out of favor. He was a bit of a rising star. Never really drank the Kool-Aid, though. Always saw it more of a political station as opposed to, really believing that he could read the future. But he did understand that other people did believe that, and that belief in him being able to divine future events was something that he could hold sway over them. A few years back, he was conducting what's called an excaleo, which is a thunder and lightning divination, which went awry. He was, or the ground nearby was struck by lightning completely randomly. Lost his hearing in his left ear, but that was the least of his problems. The incident was seen as what's called ira deorum, which is divine disfavor among his peers in the College of Augurs, and he kind of fell into disfavor. So feeling that he, couldn't continue to rise in the ranks where he was, he decided to travel abroad. So he traveled north along the coast into Dalmatia, stopped over at the capital city there, spent some time in Macedonia, visited the hot springs, and then traveled and spent some time with the Greeks and visited Thracia, visiting the city of Philoppolis, and then finally the city of Tomi on the edge of the Black Sea, which is kind of north west of Constantinopolis. I was there. He met a man, another disgraced augur by the name of Titus Decius Galabrio. He was not just a disgraced augur, but a kind of a heretic of sorts. He actually has what he calls the true knowledge, which is a little bit of the mythos knowledge, and he actually taught Gnaeus his first spell, which is a spell of augury. So Gnaeus kind of became a initiate of his, fell under his sway for a while, and eventually he passed, struck down by malaria, and Gnaeus decided to head off to the new Roman capital, hoping to kind of distance himself from his failings back in the West, and to seek out more arcane knowledge and maybe find favor in the court of the new emperor.
So, I have a mechanical question for you first.
Yep.
Does the fact that when the augur gets their opening spell, does that cost them any sanity?
It does. I'll have to look it up here. Give me a minute.
Excellent. Anything that lowers your sanity makes me very happy. Matt, can you put your character's name in your byline?
In my what?
Your little captiony thing?
Follow the naming convention, Matt. Come on.
Yeah.
Sorry, Ben. I completely forgot to ask about this. There was something I was reading in the handbook about having previous experience with war. While it reduces your sanity, it also increases skills.
Mm-hmm.
You remember how that works?
No.
I think there's like packages that you can take,
That's something like that, right? Yeah.
Something like that, where it increases your age, increases your skills, but then you lose some stuff
Yeah,
as well.
I noticed your character was quite old in the picture. How old is he?
So I was thinking somewhere in the high 20s,
Okay.
26, 27, 28.
Man, he's had some hard living.
Yeah. Well, I gave him a big nose because he broke his nose in Gaul, so.
Okay, perfect. Took the butt of a spear in the face.
Yeah.
All right, Ben, the augury spell has a sanity loss of 1d3.
Okay, so have you done that yet?
No, I have not. I haven't rolled for it.
So your starting
Is that
sanity
rolled
is
every
equal to what?
time, isn't it?
I'm sorry? You should have lost sanity just by learning it.
Okay.
Actually.
Your starting sanity is equal to what again?
There's some arcane formula you have to do to get your opening sanity.
Of course.
Look it up.
No, I'll look it up.
I'll roll.
Continue with your.
It's 2 stats that get added together. I forget what they are.
God damn it.
So 3 points. So do I gain 3 mythos?
Yes. Yep.
Okay.
And all that means is that your max. The way it works in 7th edition is a little bit different. So your max sanity can't exceed your mythos or something like that. So it's like when your myth goes really high, that's when it starts interfering
Right.
with sanity. It used to be a 1-to-1, which was great. So every mythos point automatically deducted 1 sanity, but that's not the case now. They definitely made the characters, the PCs, more robust in 7th edition. So, Naeus and Gregarios know each other, or have met in the past.
Yes.
Yep.
And I'm going to say that at this point, neither of you are aware that the other one is in the city.
Give me 1 second. Can you guys hear me?
Yeah.
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 Yeah, okay.
Mhm.
I don't know why the little green or little blue line isn't popping up.
I can hear you fine.
That's weird.
Did you
Sanity
find-
points are equal to your POW.
Yeah, and I just realized it calculates it automatically anyway. Sheet, it looks like. I think.
Yeah, it's from your POW, yeah.
Okay, so either Trevor or Jason, if you want to give a bit of your background, and then we'll get rocking.
So the way that, and Jason, since you don't know, the way that Gregorios and Naeus know each other is that Gregorios spent a lot of time basically occupy augurs. He spent a lot of time like outside of the augur forum, kind of ranting to the people in the public not to go in. It's a bunch of fake science, pseudoscience that it doesn't match with the natural sciences of the world, or the the way that science actually works and the way that the natural world functions, and that it's just a bunch of hooey to make money off of you.
It does not. I mean, I'm an expert in ex avibus, which is divining the will of the gods from birds. How does that not make sense?
But yeah, my character basically spent a whole lot of time like telling people that your practices were bullshit, and I'm sure that in that process you and I had a like a meeting or a confrontation, or several confrontations. So it'll be interesting to see how we come across each other.
Okay, cool. I like it. Yeah, and this would have been like 4 years ago for me, so I would have been pretty young, like 18. So I may have been like an elder student at that point. So maybe
How many years ago?
Like 4 years ago, I think.
Yeah.
So they would have probably, at least the more senior augurs, probably would have sent me out because they didn't want to deal with you. They were like, "Oh, that guy's here again. You go out and talk to him, try and chase him off, like."
Well,
run you
another
off
thing
with my
is
staff
that my character probably would have had something to do with the collapse of the augurs. Even though he didn't agree with Christianity necessarily, he was all about bringing down the augurs and getting them off the, out of the forums and people from spending their money on you.
Yeah, that sounds good. I like it.
Okay, great. So we're good to get started? Hi.
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 Hello.
So we're going to begin this on the 8th of March. The year is 330 in the city of Constantinople. Gregorius. On this day, the magister basically receives a messenger at the house in the early hours, and he was quickly sequestered to the magister's study. They spoke shortly, and then the magister left immediately in kind of a huff. You have not seen him now for almost 2 days. On the morning of the 10th, the magister returns home. Do you live in the house, or do you?
I do.
Okay. So he returns in the early hours, like around dawn, and awakens you.
Does he say anything, or does he just fucking shake me awake?
First, he wants to make sure that you're awake. Are you awake, Gregarious?
Yes, I suppose I'm well awake now.
Get dressed and come with me
Well, where are we
He's-
going, sir?
to my office. Make haste, man.
This is one of those situations where Gregorius is very confused. He is almost never asked to come into the magister's office, so he actually decides that he's going to, dress a little bit more up than he normally would. Oh, I lost Ben.
Nope.
Did anyone else lose Ben?
Yep,
Yes.
I lost him too.
He's frozen.
Yep.
He's not even frozen. He's just black for me.
Yeah, he's black for me.
Yeah.
Woohoo!
Quality. Good job.
Oh
Roll
yeah,
20.
absolutely. Does everyone else have him back? Oh, there he is.
Yep. Think,
You're back.
One by one, I'm getting you all back. Sorry, I don't know what happened.
It's alright.
Roll 20 happened.
I'm
Can
just
everyone
missing
see me?
Shane at this point.
Yeah, Shane is just the empty one. Maybe he's the one that took us down.
I've got Shane.
I think my roll 20 just rose.
He thinks his roll 20 just froze.
Oh
Yeah,
my
it
god,
probably
this
did.
fucking game.
He's the one that took us down.
We're breaking Shane's immersion.
They emerge and that's it. Done.
He's breaking my immersion. Adam, you're coming back fast tonight.
Yeah.
Normally,
Don't know what's
Yeah,
happening.
what's up? Are you not on? Are you on a different computer or something? And you're in color.
you
I always
upgraded
picture
to
you in black and
Fios.
white. You always have the white shirt with the disembodied head.
Yeah, I have everybody's name.
Okay, I got Shane.
Yep, he's back.
Everybody good?
All right. Cool.
So you, last I heard you were getting dressed in your finery.
Right. So I'm getting dressed in my uppities, as I'll refer to them henceforth as my uppities, and I put on my fine slippers and follow the magister to his office.
He says,
I assume
"Oh,
he's just left without me.
Oh, yeah. He's waiting outside. He says, "I'll explain on the way."
I certainly hope there's much to explain because I'm rather tired. It's been a long week.
So you can tell he looks like he hasn't slept since he disappeared 2 days ago.
And if you don't mind me saying, sir, it looks like you haven't slept much either.
He says, that would be because I haven't. One of the servants brings over like a bowl full of water, and he splashes his face, and then he grabs some wine, a wineskin, and slugs some wine. Says, "Come on, there's work to do."
What time would it be, or would I know?
It's like 5:30 in the morning.
At such an early hour, sir. There's work to do.
The Legion doesn't sleep.
Fair enough. And I continue to follow him wherever he's going.
How long have you worked for me, Gregarios?
Well, it'll be nigh on 6 years.
I don't often ask favors of you, but I will ask this. I'm going to be having a meeting in my office shortly, and I want you to sit, I want you to observe, and then I want you to report what you think.
Whom is it that will be attending this meeting?
That will all be explained in time. Now leave me to my thoughts.
Yes, sir. I bow deeply and leave the room.
He doesn't even take his chariot. He wants to walk to, you look at the map, his office is
I don't see a
in-
map. I see Cthulhu.
Oh, there's a handout for the city.
Ah! And out for the city. Constantinopolis. This
The
one?
Curia, yeah, the Curia, which is area number 2, is where his office is located, but he lives towards the middle of the city, so it's about a mile away. So it's a good
Alright.
20-minute walk with him just basically brooding the whole time.
Okay, well, I take it it's going to be a silent walk, and if he wants to be left alone to his thoughts, I'm not one to question the Magus Similituum, so I am silent.
Okay. We're going to now fast forward to early morning, say another hour or two ahead of time. So now it's about 7:30 in the morning, and the Legion's troops have begun training. So Sidric and Abiskar are among those that are training.
Mm-hmm.
And on this day, you were asked to train with Lawrence and Nabatius. Now, Lawrence and Nabatius are legendary, famous legionaries, known for their prowess. They're also older. They're in their mid-40s, late 40s. They were part of the Festus Falconis, which is an elite troop from the Legion that basically won Constantine his crown, his emperorship. So every soldier that was part of that group is basically, counting off the minutes to retirement. They should have been retired years ago, but Constantine has kept them kind of in circulation as figureheads. They help train, but they don't really go into the field much anymore. But they're still super badass warriors. So the both of you, I'd say Sidric, Tiberius, and Arbiskar are training with these two. You're about an hour or so into the training, so now it's getting towards mid-morning, about 8:30 in the morning, when you see everyone kind of stops, and onto the training field enters
Cthulhu, yeah.
Tilius Corvus, the Tribune Comitas. Now, the Comitas was kind of like their captain when they won the emperorship for Constantine. He is in his mid-40s. He is the next closest thing probably to the Magister in the city. He can countermand almost virtually any order that's given. He has the same status as the rest of the Falconis in that he is active, but not super active in terms of he doesn't go on patrol or anything like that. He's been more of the administrative overhead capacity, and he's in the city specifically for the big celebration that's coming up. So when he shows up, there's kind of like a ripple in the crowd of the trainees, and everyone's kind of nudging each other like, "Oh, Tim. And they kind of stop, and the other two, notice his name, Nabanus, and I forget the other guy, Nabatius and Lawrence. Lawrence is German. He's a spear expert, and Nabatius is Greek, and he's known as the Bear, and he's just a massive wall of a human being. And they're like, "What are you guys gawking at? Get back to training!" The Tribune kind of clears his throat, and Nabatius goes over to him, and they speak off to the side for a moment or so. Arbiskar, you notice. Actually, Arbiskar, give me a roll. Give me a what is it? What is the spot hidden? Is that what it is?
I think it would be.
Something like that.
I don't see anything like perception or anything like that.
Yeah, spot hidden is
Yep.
like the.
So I will ask Arbiskar, Tiberius, and Sidric to give me a spot hidden check.
Which one we have to roll, the green one or the gray one?
I think the green one just gives you the straight roll without all the
Right.
extra charts.
Ah, by 2.
Et tu bouteille.
Curses.
You said green one, right?
Mm-hmm. Oh, this is great.
Oh boy.
Nice.
How do I?
So you guys don't.
I don't know how to interpret this.
You guys
how do
don't
I
hear
interpret it?
anything. It means you would have passed a normal or hard check, like if it was a pushed roll. Is what that means.
Yeah, so Shane, there's 3 numbers there. The first is your base, so the value of 25 on that last roll is his base chance to succeed. The second number is what you would use if it was a hard roll, and the third is if it's an extreme roll, and that's determined by Ben.
And you're trying to get above or below?
Below it.
below
It's a
percentile.
percentile, yeah.
So you always want to roll below whatever the skill is that you're trying to roll.
Gotcha.
Makes sense.
So, Sigeric.
Sidgeric.
You notice, we're going to say that Tiberius and Arviska, when they're told to go back to fighting, they go back to sparring, but you kind of are curious, so you keep an eye on them, trying to read their lips or see what they're indicating, and it looks like they're having a hushed but heated discussion, and he's gesturing towards the 3 of you, and Nabadius is just kind of like shaking his head and rolling his eyes, and he's getting more emphatic as it comes, and then Tiberius, I'm sorry, the Tribune, what's his name?
Comitus Tilius.
Yeah, Corvus. Corvus is his name. Corvus then leaves. So you guys train for a little bit longer, and Nabadius pulls the 3 of you aside, Arvisker, Tiberius, and Sigeric, and says, the Tribune has noticed how well you've been training, and he has a job for you. Come with me.
All right then.
Very well.
Yes, sir.
Hang on one sec. Gotta say goodnight.
Go the fuck to sleep.
That was funny. So you follow him a little bit further. You actually meet Corvus outside the training facility, and he introduces himself to each of you, and he says, we have a very important meeting with the Magister at the moment, so we have no time to lose. And he very hurriedly starts marching towards the Magister's office.
Sidgeric kind of whispers to Arviskar, what do you make of all this?
Maybe they just need bodyguards. This is they picked a balance group. And again,
Or someone to shovel shit.
I'm too high-born for that, my guy.
we're not.
And both Lawrence and Nabadius will go with you. So it's kind of like you guys are walking down the street with like 2-3 members of AC/DC. Is the equivalent of what's going on here. So a lot of people are noticing that you're hurriedly walking through the city streets with these elite guards. So your standing kind of goes up a notch. I would say that your credit rating goes up 2% as a result.
Whatever that means.
Now I'm no longer poor.
That's your influence.
Oh.
So you get marched across the city. When you get to the Magister's office, you're told to wait, and Corvus says, "I'll be right back,"
I'll be back.
and he leaves. So then you're left standing in the office awkwardly with these 2 grizzled veterans and the Magister's secretary, whose job is to guard the door, basically, to his office and make sure that no one comes in or out. Is there anything you would like to do?
Can I take a look around, see if there's anything, the paper's been shuffled, people hustling about?
Well, you're in like the waiting room.
Yeah, if anything. Well, if the secretary's there, if I notice he's like, busy at work, or if it's just relaxed for him, it might.
Yeah, give me a spot hidden.
Is Gregorios there yet? Or
You don't know. You do not see him.
Okay.
I gotta say, the Spectavidia is having the highest spot hidden so far.
Yeah, that 11's pretty dang good. You notice that the guard looks like he hasn't slept much. Like he's been on this post for a very long time. Way longer than would be normal.
And you said he's a secretary. He's not like a member of the Legion.
He is a member of the Legion, but his job is basically to administer the office. So he wears a uniform. He's wearing armor. He's basically the door guard. It's kind of like combination adjutant and bouncer.
And what are the two veterans doing?
They're kind of whispering to each other. Give me a spot hidden.
All right. Yes.
Okay, you can tell that although they're trying to play it off like it's all cool, they are pretty annoyed. Do you speak Latin?
I mean, I would assume I do.
You
So they
kind of
keep-
have to, don't you?
I mean, I would imagine. Oh yeah, because Spain has been by that point, Iberia has been for a long time a Roman province by that point. So yeah, his native language would be Latin.
So they keep slipping to like Greek from Latin, and you can catch bits and pieces of it. They are basically wondering what Corvus is up to, and they're not liking the fact that it looks like they might have to leave the city or perhaps go on a mission, because they know that Corvus wouldn't have called them unless they were wanted, and they're also very curious what he could possibly want with yourself, Tiberius, and Sigeric as well. But they're keeping it. I mean, to all intents and purposes, they look like they're totally in control. But you can tell like their nonverbal communication is such that they're a little annoyed.
Mm-hmm.
So
I think.
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Let's see. I mean, so far, how would you say, Shane, that Tiberius has addressed Arviscar? I know that Sigeric so far that's kind of like an equal, but you said that Tiberius is more of a highborn type, right?
Yeah. So I'm of a higher family, but I'm also very loyal to the Legion. So, people who fight in Legion, fellow soldiers, I have a lot of respect for them.
Mm-hmm.
So I would feel like, Aberskar, I would definitely respect you. While I might not treat you as an equal, you're definitely have that mutual respect.
Mm-hmm. And yeah, then I will, I guess, stretching and such, he'll pretend that he's stretching just so that he can hide. As much as he tells to both Sigeric and Tiberius, like the rundown. Something along the lines of, seems like we might be getting called for a mission or something. They don't seem happy.
I'm gonna ask the guard if he knows anything about what's going on.
I was wondering if someone was going to do that.
Well, might as well let the one with the highest rank do so.
I was just trying to think of how to broach the subject.
You can ask him by making a charm roll.
Charm?
Mm-hmm.
It's not my forte.
Man,
then-
I have been doing fucking terrible at this shit.
So explain to me how you attempted to.
So I kind of looked at
Actually,
it.
you could try fast talk too. Do you have fast talk? I should have mentioned.
Charm was much better.
Okay.
So I'll stick with that roll. I look at him and I go, "Soldier, what do you know of what's going on here?"
And he kind of looks at you like, even if I knew, I wouldn't tell you. This is the business of the Magister is no business of yours until he chooses to tell you.
I kind of give a grumble.
Grumble, grumble.
So we're going to leave that scene right now, and we're going to cut to Decimus toiling away on his farm. You are working away when you hear the sound of a horse approaching. You see a chariot with all speed come tearing off the road and coming your way.
Coming like directly towards me, or just like my direction in general?
Oh no, it was kind of like you saw one of your hands like talking to him and pointing to you, and then he yeah.
Alright, so I just drop whatever I'm doing and just kind of give my full attention to this chariot as it comes in and try to assess what's up, what's the reason that it's coming, who is this, do I recognize anybody in it?
You recognize him as being definitely a high-level, a high-ranking military officer, but you do not know who it is.
Okay.
So what you do notice, however, is the insignia on the front of his chariot, which identifies him as a member of the Vestus Falcones. So this is like an elite fighting. He's basically like royalty, more or less, the equivalency thereof in the Legion. He has a driver. Obviously, he's not driving the chariot himself. He pulls up and he says, "Good morning. Are you Decimus Junius Macula?"
Yes, sir. My name is Decimus.
I am Tribune Comitus Tilius Corvus. And at that, you're like, oh, this is the Kingmaker. This is the guy that put Constantine on his throne.
And so I say, how may I help you, my lord?
Your brother is one... Oh, we didn't pick your brother's name. We need a name for your brother.
Jeff.
Jeff, yes.
Jeffus Peanut Butterus?
Yeah, there you go. That's
Jeffus Peanut Butterus.
Jellius? Jellius.
Your brother is one Jiffus Peanut Butterus.
Penis? Yeah. Was that part of that?
That's a little bit phallic, don't you think?
Is he related to Biggest Dickus?
That's what's coming next. Exactly. That's what's coming next.
Homo erectus.
Answer the question.
Consus.
Contus is his name?
Consus.
Consus. Your brother is Consus, what is the rest of your name? Junius Macula, stationed in Gillian on the Lydian frontier.
Indeed, he is, yes.
You have information that is vital to the Legion. You will come with me. It is not a question. Yeah, it's not a question. You gotta climb on board.
No, my interest is piqued for sure. It's just like, what's going on? So yeah, definitely, pretty much just drop everything, take a quick survey of the scene. Everything's cool. All right, let's go.
Yep. So you tear off with him. You arrive through the streets of the town. He doesn't really bother to slow down. He stops at a small house that seems pretty unassuming, and he leaves and steps inside. Naeus, you're enjoying your grape breakfast. Having some grapes or something.
I'm dipping bread in wine.
Yeah, what do augurs do in the morning? You hear the door open, and you just hear footsteps in the hall.
Alright, I leisurely drop a few more grapes in my mouth, and then, because I'm reclining on a bench, and I turn to see who it is that's entered the room.
Okay, so you kind of poke your head out, and you see a Roman soldier, high-ranking Roman soldier standing there.
Trouble.
And
All right.
he says, "Are you Gnaeus Sembapronus Lentulus?"
I am. What of it?
He introduces himself. I am Tribune Comitus Tilius Corvus, and you know the guy. I mean, everyone knows who this guy is. He's one of
Tribune.
one of the just by having. Okay, so here's the thing. Do you guys know about Tribune? Like what that title?
Military Tribune? No.
Okay.
I played Rome Total War, but
It's like above general. It's higher than that.
It can only be bestowed by Constantine, basically. He's the only person that can do it. So it's like 10th degree black belt. You know, you can only get it from your grandmaster. You can't give it to yourself. It's that kind of thing. So you know him by reputation, and you know that he's part of a elite military force, and he's a Roman legionary. So he says, I'm looking for... oh no, he says, you came recommended as a particularly smart individual. I'm in need of someone with wits about them. You'll come with me. There's work to be done for the Legion. And he just turns around and walks right back out the door. Doesn't even close it behind him.
All right, I bow again and say, Tribune.
So you go outside and you see an interesting sight. You see his chariot, which is covered in mud, dust. His driver looking a little harried. You see someone dressed in rags. Maybe he's a farmer. He's got like a little floppy hat on. He looks utterly bewildered. Didn't even remember, like, he's still holding his rake. Like, didn't even think to get rid of the rake. And he climbs on, and there's barely enough room on one of the side steps for you to grab on and hold on for dear life.
All right.
As he
I can ride it on the handlebars.
I have a small crate that I bring with me that has a couple of chickens stuffed into it. I make sure I strap that on my back and bring it along.
Okay, awesome. So this is a great looking
chickens
scene.
This is gonna be a great sight. Rolling down.
You then go tearing through the city streets, which are now, it's getting on 9:30, 10 o'clock in the morning. It's starting to fill up in the city. So eventually you make your way to the Curia, specifically outside the office of the Magister. Yeah. Drifting. You make yourself way to the office of the Magister, and he just gets out and walks inside. And the guards just salute and open the door and let him in the front door. And you two are left behind. And she kind of like looks to you like, don't make me tell you to come after me.
All right, so I disembark from the thing and head inside.
I too kind of disembark, but I'm kind of lingering kind of at the back, trying to kind of stay out of the way, just kind of slinking along, trying to keep in my place.
So Gregorius, this whole time you've been inside the Magister's office. He's positioned you in a seat kind of in the corner by the window, looking towards the door. And you've begun hearing shuffling and conversation happening outside the room. The Magister himself hasn't really changed. He's just going through papers. Looks like he's preparing notes or something. Were you able to hear me?
Trevor?
I don't know if Trevor heard or
What
if
was
he
that?
went. Did you catch any of that, or were you AFK?
I was AFK.
So, what did you hear or not hear? Where did we leave off?
We left off with Jason saying words.
Okay. So your character's dead.
Yeah, great.
He
Well,
got thrown out the window
I
by the
figured-
Magister.
I figured that's
God.
what happened,
Good thing you made it back up.
When the Magister really wants some important business done, it's always important to throw the teacher out the window first.
Yeah.
Then
So
get down to
called-
business.
So-called learning. This is Constantinople. Just kicks you right out the window.
I mean, it worked well for the Viennese.
So you've been waiting for about 2 hours in the office, and you hear a growing commotion in the room outside. He has positioned you in kind of a corner seat by the window, so you're behind him, facing the door, the outer door. And he has been just busy going through notes and reports and stuff, but otherwise has basically ignored you since you went into the office.
So I just kind of do one of those little pods.
He does this from behind.
Yes, sir.
Don't
Well?
interrupt.
Then I sit and I wait.
He says, Gregorius, you were brought here to watch, not to speak.
Watch I shall, sir.
So outside, you hear the outer door open and you hear kind of the level of commotion rise. So meanwhile, outside, Gnaeus and Decimus are escorted into the outer office of the Magister, Militum, and you see several tough-looking soldiers kind of milling around. Corvus kind of motions everyone to come together in a semicircle at that point, and says, "You've all been called here at the order of the Magister. I was tasked with putting together as quickly as I could the most effective team of the best at what you do in your respective fields. I don't know what is entailed. I was merely told to do it.
I'm just imagining.
Arbiscar, Tiberius, Sideric, you come highly recommended by your superiors." And he nods to his two fellow veterans. "Decimus, I understand you have information that is vital to the particular area that we'll be going to. Neus, you're just so smart. Everyone says how smart you are."
Gregorius crosses his arms and just eyes Neus.
Well, you're on the other side of the door. You don't hear any of this yet.
This is on the other side of the door.
Oh, yeah. Yep.
Gotcha.
So with that, he says, "Do you have any questions?" "Good." And he turns to the guard and says, "Let us in." So the secretary tells him to wait. He goes inside. So Gregorius, you see the secretary kind of come in and goes up and he says, "Master, the men are here now." "Very good, send them in." The door opens and you see, this massive marble office with this large desk. Behind it stands the Magister Militum of the city. He sees you all. He doesn't really smile or welcome you. He just kind of looks at you each. He nods, and then Corvus says, "Step forward, men." And you all kind of move forward as in a line together. Hang on a sec. I just got to do a little look-see. Okay. Gentlemen, what I'm about to say cannot leave this room. You will speak of it to no one. 2 days ago, a messenger arrived from the Gillian Outpost on the Lydian frontier. There is rumor of a plague which has spread across that region. It is a deadly plague that is killing people. We cannot afford to let this plague spread before the dedication of the city. I need for you to go and find out the truth, whether it's rumor or fact. I have a boat ready to take you to Mysia. There you will outfit with whatever provisions you may need for the trip. You'll be gone several days. You are to tell no one. And you are to leave immediately. Do you have any questions?
I do have one. Oh, two, actually, if I may, Magister. The first one would be, seeing that there is 3 members of the Legion in here, are we expected to do bodyguard duties or containment?
So he looks at Corvus. Corvus kind of nods. Until further notice, you are part of the group of the Festus Falcones.
Dope. I sort of nod my head and say, I serve the Empire. Like at your disposal, kind of, in a manner.
So he explains, I need reliable information to come back. Rumors from one messenger is not enough. I need to have eyes and ears that I trust. And if there is a problem there, you need to deal with it. If there is an outbreak, do whatever you need to do to end it.
Very well.
So we're murdering sick people.
And you said it was in Illyria? Is that the region?
No, the Lydian frontier.
Lydian frontier.
Mm-hmm.
Where's that?
It's about 3 days by boat and another 3 days by horse.
And do we know the cause of this plague or how many people it struck down?
Yeah. So, some people, the rumor has it, that the sickness is being blamed on some unnamed cult. The cult must be put down whether or not they're spreading the disease. You're to proceed to the Gillian Outpost. Basically what's happening is the villages are just going nuts over there. So the centurion who's in charge there, his name is Centurius Longinus. He's been totally overworked.
Mhm.
But your job isn't to bring peace or order. Your job is to find out if there is a cult that's actually responsible for spreading this plague. Get rid of them. Basically eliminate any threats to the Empire and find out whether whether there's truth to this or not. He gives Corvus total authority in the matter. He's to take command of the Gillian Outpost once they arrive, and the 100 men is to use whatever forces as he sees fit. Papers are provided to ensure total cooperation from all officials, civic or military, but there are no official orders. This is completely off the books, and you're not to speak of this mission to anyone ever. Then he says, "Gentlemen, the new capital is going to provide much opportunity for men of worth. But those who undertake this mission will be rewarded with," kind of stops for a second, thinking, it's like land grants, building interests, business partnerships, anything within reason. If you are successful in this mission, I can make sure that you will be very handsomely rewarded.
Well, and like he's going to do the typical Legion salute, fist to the chest. It will be done.
Gregorius, give me a spot hidden. Okay, so when he mentions about, going on this mission and traveling to the Lydian frontier and all that jazz, you see Lawrence and Nabadis, both of them kind of like stiffen and roll their eyes and look none too pleased.
Yeah, what do we know of the Lydian frontier?
Not much. I mean, it's pretty quiet. It's just another Roman outpost along the way. It's dotted by quaint little agricultural villages. Good wine country, but otherwise not known for revolt, and certainly not anything like mysterious cults.
So are the two of them, when they stiffen and roll their eyes, is it more like an uncomfortable kind of like, oh shit, or like a, oh fuck this place again?
More like a, I can't believe we're being asked to do this at our age.
How old are they?
Late 40s.
Yeah, they're old.
For Roman legionaries, they are like,
They're ancient.
it's like someone trying to be a professional gymnast at age 40.
Well, wasn't 25 years the standard Roman service, I think?
You mean by age?
Yeah, I think if you joined the Roman military, the deal was that you had to serve for 25 years. I thought I could be wrong.
But
You don't
most
need to
people
be,
retired or were given assignments that were non-military based after the age of 30. They weren't going to send them out to fight because it just wouldn't be efficient, and the Roman Empire was not going to send people that they knew were going to lose. So you'd be put on border patrol or city guard or something like that. It wouldn't be sent as part of the Legion. Certainly not something like this, like black bag op.
I feel like we're the Roman A-team.
Totally.
Dun, 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 dun.
The Alpha team.
Yeah.
So, does anyone have any last-minute questions?
Do we
Not
know
to
anything
look
about
at.
this supposed cult that is plaguing the area?
No, it's just a rumor. So, if there is a cult, he wants it eliminated. He doesn't believe that there's a cult behind it, personally. But his main concern is that if a plague erupts in Constantinople just weeks before the grand commencement, that Constantine's reputation will be affected, and that is a no-go. He'd rather see you burning villages before Constantine's reputation going down.
Once you mentioned the burning villages and such, I will basically ask if it would be possible to acquire some, like either pods of terracotta filled with, like with oil or maybe with Greek fire.
When you get to, I'll tell you the name of the place. The outfitting is going to be at Cyzicus. So you basically you're given whatever they have, you will have, short of like ballistas.
You could use some ballistas.
So Gregorios is looking.
You're not laying siege. You're there to go in, deal with the issue, or get information and come back.
So Gregorios is just kind of looking and trying to get an idea of each of the people, but as he's kind of looking them over, he comes to Neos, and he would very clearly and obviously recognize.
Oh, you guys make
Neos.
eye contact straight away, and you know exactly who he is. I mean, the way Neos is dressed. That alone is giving it away. He's dressed like an ogre, so.
Yeah, if you look at my character's bio, I have the like robes in there that they wear. So that's what I'm wearing. Nice and bright.
The guy even looks at you like you with the beard.
So with that, you're dismissed. So when you go outside, Corvus kind of says, well, I know that the boat isn't going to be leaving until midnight. That leaves us several hours. Did you know I was about to be engaged?
Poor bastard. He's dying.
So he says, I would ask you all to come celebrate with me for the engagement that I will not now have. And he invites you to come to an inn to spend the remainder of the hours before the boat leaves, basically celebrating.
Yeah, that sounds good to me.
Yeah, I sort of like nod in my head and be like, it would be my honor.
I'll never turn down a free drink.
Hope they have Egyptians.
However, his two fellows say that they'll meet him at the boat, and they leave. So you guys enjoy a great meal. Corvus picks up the tab, pays for everything. It's lengthy. There's lots of good food and drink. After, once the sun sets, you guys leave and head to the docks to board the ship that you're going to be taking. At midnight, it becomes clear that the two soldiers are not going to be coming back. They're not going to be joining you. They jump ship. And Corvus basically says, well, I hope they get a good head start before the Legion finds them. So is there anything you wanted to do before you actually set sail?
It's midnight right now, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Well, I mean, there is something that has been plaguing Arviscar's mind since, as far as I know, I think he's the youngest of the group. And, he's going to look at Decimus and say, I'm sorry if this is rude, but what happened to your face? I did read your description.
Did you hear that, Adam?
What? Oh, asking about my face?
Yep.
No, he's just saying, he very kind of doesn't really want to talk about it, just kind of like, that's something I've carried since I was born, and just kind of tries to leave it at that. Not something he wants to talk about or delve into. It's kind of his mark of shame that he's had to carry.
Okay.
Arviscar will, of course, let the matter lie.
So 3 days pass. I mean, nothing really happens. You make it to Sisychus, where you're able to basically requisition whatever you need. Each of you is given a suit of chainmail. You're also given a weapon, a sword or whatever weapon you feel will be most comfortable with. Corvus says that even if you're honorary members of the Legion, you still have to look the part when you arrive at the outpost.
I mean, in my case, I guess they would give more like leather and rings because, like as a skirmisher.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it is, like it's basically like the best of the light rather than being one of the best on the moderate side.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it'll still mitigate 1d6 in
Nice.
armor. Tiberius, I'm assuming you have heavier armor than that. So.
Yes, I'm wearing the full Centurion armor, so it's the 1d8.
Segmentata.
And I've got my Centurion helm, so I can be recognized as
Right.
a Centurion.
And Neas, I'm assuming you're not going to don armor?
I am definitely not.
Not even a helmet?
Nope. No, I have my divining staff. I have a CX, which is kind of a large sacrificial knife, but I'm not wearing armor or wielding a sword or anything like that.
And
And my
Decimus?
chickens. I have my chickens.
Yes. And Decimus, it's totally not your bag. But you feel like you don't have much choice in the matter.
No, and he's kind of looking to blend in anyways. He's totally out of sorts, so it's just like when in Rome, like he'll just like try and blend in and pretend. Exactly. It's like clumsy. It's heavy. It's hot. It's just like not my thing.
Yeah. So I mean, it's a lot to carry. So you have all these guys that are like these buff soldier dudes. And I mean, you're not in bad shape. You're a farmer, so you're used to working, but not necessarily walking for hours or riding for days in armor. So there is no Greek fire available at Sisychus, unfortunately. Ibiscar.
What a shame.
So Cedric's going to make some small talk with Neas, and he says, "Tell me, what do the portents tell for this mission?"
Well, my young friend, I can spend a few moments divining the will of the gods if you have the time. So I'm going to do what's called an ex triputus. So I'm going to divine whether this is going to be a fortuitous outing or not using my chickens.
Excellent.
So I essentially just let them out of the cage, throw some feed on the ground, and if they go crazy and eat it, things are going to be great. If not, then things are going terrible.
Is that really the way it works?
Yeah, that's what they did.
And
Or I'd use my staff to like section off an area of the sky, and if any birds flew there, I would say yay or nay. And all of the divination was just yes or no. It wasn't like, here's what's going to happen. It was like, yes, it's going to be good. No, it's going to be bad.
it's like true divination.
Yeah.
It was like the magic conch, pretty much.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yep. It's
So that way
I'm like a Roman 8-ball.
you had a 50-50 chance.
Yeah.
yeah, which is an amazingly high success rate, actually.
So I'm not going to cast my actual spell, but I'm just going to go through the motions of...
Okay. Think of it this way: if the Weathermen had the same success rate as an alder.
Exactly, right?
Dude, I wish, man.
So
Ben.
the chickens go nuts. They're loving it.
All right.
Are they're especially frisky today.
Well, I say, Cedric, yeah, gods have blessed us. Our outing shall be successful, and you shall come home a victorious warrior.
Yes.
All that from a couple hungry chickens.
Yep.
Well, let's hope for their sake I don't get hungry.
As my good friend over here, Gregorius, knows, this is a time-tested way of divining the will of the gods, isn't it, Gregorius?
Would I even hear that, or are they like outside of the? Aren't they outside of the room at this point?
Well, you guys are now basically at Sizuka's 3 days.
Yeah, we're at
like,
Siska's.
Oh, I wasn't even aware I got sent with them. I thought I was just supposed to sit.
Oh,
And
I'm
listen.
sorry. I forgot a scene. Let's insert a scene in there.
All right. Retcon.
Yeah.
Let's
Boo!
insert a
Boo! New
scene.
DM. Boo! Immersion broken.
I forgot that you were observing.
I forgot you were here, Trevor.
Yeah, I forgot I was here too. It's okay.
So they all leave, and Magister turns to you and he says, "What do you think?"
Well, would you like my honest answer, or would you like...
Just get to the point, man. I don't have time for this.
Well, you've employed a bunch of hooligans. Especially that Naeus fellow, he's... Well, first of all, he's not even a Christian. Second of all...
You're not either, are you?
He doesn't know that.
But nobody knows that.
He's
You're
not
just
even a
as big
Christian.
of a fraud as I am.
But he's a secret.
And also,
fraud.
he seems to believe that, spilling some bird blood and chicken guts is going to tell him the future and the portents and people's past, presents, and future. It's all against natural logic. And then,
So you
and then you've also hired barbarians out of Gaul and Spain and those places, and it's rather disappointing.
I like how you're doing Alchemist.
Yep.
I agree. You'll go with them. You will
What?
advise Corvus.
Pardon me, sir, but you really think it's the best idea to send me with them, especially when your son has so much left to learn in his lessons, and we've only just started Stoic philosophy.
I think he'll get on fine without you for a couple of days. He'll be gone a week at the most.
He is very uncomfortable with this because he does not like the Northern Europeans and the Western Europeans.
Oh yeah, and he knows this.
Oh yeah.
He puts his hand on your shoulder. He says, Gregorius, how would you like to earn your freedom?
He says, Master, if you're making a joke with me, please refrain from joking about that.
We're running out of time before the grand dedication. I have no more jokes left. If you go on this mission and come back, when you come back, I will grant you freedom.
He just kind of nods his head and says, very well then. I suppose I'm going. What shall I need?
Corvus will make sure that you're outfitted. Just keep an eye on the others.
Should I need anything from the library, sir?
I don't know. He doesn't know. It's like, I have no idea what you would need from the library.
It was worth asking. Very well then. And he departs off to finish his sleep, I guess, and pack and whatever.
You weren't invited to the party either, so.
Okay, so now we cut to 3 days later, and the chickens are running around, enjoying their feed oh so much.
All right.
And so this is what Naeus has looked over at me and said, this is,
Yep.
Yes.
Yes, very well. Yes, your chickens, all guts and all of that. They're definitely going to tell us the portents of our little excursion here. And he just kind of rolls his eyes. Waste of food, if you ask me.
I
knew
mean,
this
I wouldn't
trip
know.
was gonna be
They
foul
put
when I
eggs.
smelled you. Filius Canis. I don't look forward to spending the next week in your company, but I suppose I must do as needed.
Yes, well, when one smells as chicken guts and blood and the feces of such creatures, well, I don't want to be around you either.
With all this talk of animal
Perhaps you should
smells
take
and
a
whatnot,
bath.
Decimus just gets all self-conscious, shrinking back further,
Decimus kind of like
smelling his garments and just like get as small as possible in the shadow.
he's like taking the dirt out from under his fingernails.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm a biker. So is there anything anyone needs or wants equipment-wise?
I have a quick question. Throwables, how does that work? Can I bring... So, like the pylum, for example, is a spear and it's a throwable. I bring one. If I throw it, does it break? Do I retrieve it? Because I know pylums are specifically designed to break.
Yeah, they are. So they typically had two of them. One of them was heavier than the other one. They would throw the first one, and at the point where the spear attached to the shaft, it would usually bend.
Yeah.
So it'd stick in the enemy's shield, and it'd get bent, so they'd have to throw their shield down, and they couldn't take it out and throw it back. And then they had a second one that they'd throw at closer range.
Now, the thing is,
they were typically carried two of them.
And since they bent rather than breaking, like after battle, like they could just retrieve them and straight them, with a hammer.
Oh, so they are retrievable.
Well, someone could do it. The soldiers wouldn't do it.
Yeah.
It'd be someone who was trained to do it.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it would just buckle, like, instantly.
Yep.
Would they even attempt to outfit me with any kind of weaponry, Ben? Or do...
Corvus...
I would scoff at the idea that a teacher could stand in the Legion.
But Corvus, strongly recommends wearing the armor in case there is a cult behind this. If there is some kind of insurgency.
Very well, if I must look so militaristic, I suppose I shall.
And you would probably at least have a knife. I mean, everyone had a knife for eating, defending themselves.
I mean, as is, like, so far what I'm stocking on is gonna be, like, should we, like, write the equipment that we're going to get? So that, you know exactly what we're asking for?
Yeah, I should know. I mean, as long as it's within reason, it's not going to be denied. Because you basically have papers that say these guys, give them whatever they need. They're on a mission for the Empire.
We're on a mission from God.
I mean, as is, like, I would already have, like, 3 slings on myself, that I'm getting leathers and rings, and a medium helmet as my armor. I'm getting a small shield because slingers used to carry smaller shields. And then other than that, I'm picking cestus, basically knuckle dusters. Sika, so a large knife. I'm probably going to grab also a small knife. And that would be it.
Okay, yeah, that's all perfectly doable.
I'm bringing the standard Legion shield, the tower shield. Bringing 2 pylum and a gladius, as well as the Centurion chainmail and helm.
Okay.
As well as my special token.
Does that shield afford you any, like, special cover?
I didn't see it in the thing that it did. I just saw that it... I'd have to take a look again now.
Let's see. Medium and large shields can be used for cover to block incoming missile attacks, such as arrows, spears, and slingstones and bullets. Requires the wielder to crouch behind their shield defensively, losing their action next round. Incoming missile attacks suffer 1 penalty die when attempting to hit someone crouched behind a medium shield, and 2 penalty die when attempting to hit those crouched behind a large shield. So this would be a large shield.
Yeah.
Yeah.
2 penalty dice is a lot.
Cedric is just donning 2 gladii, and he's not going to put the armor on unless he's directly ordered to do it. Because...
No, Corvus basically is leaving you to your own reconnaissance. He's depending on you guys to help him resolve the situation, whatever it is, and if you feel that you can be more effective unarmored, in his opinion, anything less than plate is unarmored. So be it.
And you said when you take cover, you lose your next turn, or that takes the place of your current turn?
You lose your next turn.
So you lose 2 turns. You lose the one you're using and the next turn.
I don't know how action economy goes in here. Like, if you get only one action, if you get a set of actions that you can do in a single turn.
It's okay. So the action's done simultaneously, and basically what happens is it goes in order by dex, straight up. So if you're ahead, you can choose to do
Attack,
an
fire.
action,
Yep.
and then the opponent makes an opposed roll, and they can either try to get away, dodge, or fight back. That's it. Those are your three flavors. So what happens is, let's say that someone has a higher dex than you, and they go, okay, well, I'm going to attack you. You can say, I'm going to dodge. You do a roll off. If you succeed and you do by a better percentage, you avoid all damage. You dodged it, but you don't do any damage until your turn comes up. If you fight back, you damage each other simultaneously on a successful roll. And then you still can, but I think the only thing you can't do on fighting back is you can't crit. So even if you have like an awesome roll, it doesn't count as a crit. You have to wait until your attack to get a chance to crit.
Alright.
It's really simple the way the combat is worked. You're either the aggressor or the aggressor. You're either trying to dodge, run away, or, attack at the same time. The way that it's described in the Keeper's book is really interesting. They're like, it's not combat like a boxing match. They're like, in Call of Cthulhu, it's like total knockdown, drag out fight. So when you're fighting back, it's pulling hair, headbutting, everything.
Yeah, it's abstract, it seems.
It is.
They're basically going.
It is extremely abstract. There's not much. It's you roll a percentile. If you succeed, you do damage. If you don't, you don't.
All right.
So it doesn't become. But the thing is, because of the way, if you're wearing armor, you'll be okay against a normal attack. But because everything does so much damage and hit points are so low, you gotta kind of think like, how many hits can I take before I'm unconscious?
Yeah,
How
most of
does,
us probably have like 10 points, right?
How does health regeneration work in this?
You
1
get
point per
one
day.
hit point back per day. So if you lose 10 hit points, you're laid up for 2 weeks. Unless you're like a hospital. Then it changes slightly.
What about like field medicine?
Yeah, with first aid you get an additional hit point back, and with medicine you get, I think, D3 hit points.
Yeah, and 2 people can attempt to heal 1 person. So if 1 person fails, instead of doing a push roll, someone else can try, and then you can try for a push roll after that.
This is why I went ranged.
So since you guys have enough people, you basically can get 3 attempts to heal any 1 person, which is pretty good.
So,
Is there
I'm all set.
anything Decimus
Alright.
requires from the outpost?
No, I think he's gonna go kind of try and blend in, take the kind of typical outfit, I guess, as far as helmet, armor, even though it's definitely not his bag. And then as far as weapons, I guess Gladius is kind of the stock sword, and just kind of 1 pilum, and he almost uses it as much as a staff as a weapon. Like, to him, it just kind of feels good to hold something that feels more like an implement than a weapon, perhaps. And then on his person, I guess he's got a kind of just a utility knife, kind of smallish, much more functional, not a pocket knife, but kind of the ancient equivalent of. And then he did have a sling that he used basically just to like scare crows from the fields and whatnot, just kind of. So that's, I don't know what the damage would be on that, but it's more kind of like a shepherd's sling or something like that.
It'll still do like 1d3 or whatever the damage is.
Yeah, it's certainly not like military grade or anything like that, but it's just kind of a weapon that he's comfortable with, more so than kind of this militaristic gear.
Right. Do you have any combat skills?
Just rudimentary, like brawl basically is the main one. and then I put some points towards sling and staff. I wasn't sure if there was like a minimum skill point to use for those, but I thought that those would be kind of basic fighting in a way that he would have used at one point or another, whether to like intimidate people that he was kind of trying to control in the field.
I think
or...
staff falls under brawl, doesn't it?
Nope. I'm gonna type down the percentages, so to speak.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean,
Well, it's like 20, 15, right?
yeah.
Staves and bowling are 25%.
Oh, okay. Okay, yeah. So I put some points toward that. So
Okay.
great, perfect.
Hey, but Ben,
Cedric's
I have
gonna carry a spear too.
Okay.
Throw it a pinch.
Does anybody want one of the newfangled crossbows, which is it's a very new invention in the year 330.
Nah.
Not yet.
Corvus takes one.
Ben, I have one quick question. For fighting, the fighting Pilum gets its own section. Fighting Pilum, does that include throwing? Because I see their throwing skill on here. Or is fighting Pilum just like spear?
I'm gonna say use it like a spear.
Yeah.
Yeah, you don't have to
Would go
specialize in
for
it. It's if you can throw a javelin, pylum, spear, it's all gonna be the same thing.
So throw is throw, and then Pilum is like melee.
Right.
Got it.
Now, what would a crossbow be? Would that be like throw? Or would
No,
that
it's
be
fire. It's a firearm.
Firearm, right?
Crossbows have. Crossbows would be. Wrong.
What about like that sling skill? Is that just a weapon-specific skill? It's not throw, obviously, because it's kind of a different mechanic. So, is there a base for that to start out
the base
with?
for sling. Let me see.
Would it just
I
be
don't
like-
remember what.
I'm pretty sure that it's gonna be 25%.
Hey, can
One
someone
massive
link
weapon.
landmass with
the
surrounding
Cthulhu
islands.
through the ages? I deleted
We're gonna
mine
have
by
20
accident.
I need to remember what was it.
So are we ready?
I know that slings.
I'm
have
ready,
that
yeah.
edge.
I'm just getting the link for Jason.
Okay.
Damn it, Jason.
Sorry.
Let's see. Sling.
What you got there, Matt?
So...
Granola
Okay,
bar.
sling would be 15%.
15%.
Sling is 15%.
Cool. Thank you.
You're welcome. Let's be the search function.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Okay, so you're good to go?
Yes.
All right. So it is now the 13th of March. You spend the next 3 days traveling by horse.
It's nearly the
Sisyphus.
eyes.
Oh, well, we're coming to that. So...
I was gonna say that road is going to get very deprived of birds, as you know. Araviscar will sometimes grab this, like rocks from the ground and practice. So of course, first Aeneas, like, right? Does that one predict the future? Because there's no whack.
So for the first couple of days, you guys are blessed with sunshine and moderately warm temperatures. But as you enter the Ides of March, the weather takes a turn towards kind of cooler and windy and rainy. As you make your way towards the Gillian Outpost, you stop at villages along the way, and they are all small agricultural villages. They basically bend over backwards for the Legion, so they provide you with places to stay, good food, basically whatever resources each village has. This goes on for the first 3 villages.
Are there
When you're-
any? Oh, sorry.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
Are there any signs of disease or sickness that we can tell yet that seems out of the ordinary?
No, until you get to the 4th village.
So I'm safe to hit up the brothels then.
Sure.
We both are.
So when you get to the fourth
Mic
village,
off.
this is where things take a turn. You're
Which
now
village
very.
is which village is this?
Mic
This
on.
is village randomicus.
Really?
I thought it was one of the ones on the map. Sorry.
Randomize.
Okay, so if you're looking at the map, see where it says Gillian Outpost?
Mhm.
You are very close. You're getting very close to Gillian Outpost. This would be your last stop before you got there. At this village, no one comes out to greet you, though.
And do we
That's-
see? I mean, are there any people like out working in the fields, or is everyone just like it's like
There's
a
no
ghost
one
town?
working in the fields, but if you give me a spot hidden,
I can do that.
I'm gonna do that too.
I cannot do that.
What are we looking for?
he is looking to see if there's a reason why the town appears to be abandoned.
Fumble!
So you don't notice anything yet. Anyone else want to give it a shot?
Oh sure.
Yeah.
We're all looking.
Yeah, I mean, if we're all looking.
Man, I am fucking doing terrible today.
So when is something considered a fumble?
Oh wait.
That's
Yes.
That's combat,
Adam, yeah, use the green one, yeah.
and that depends on if the keeper's even going to use like a fumble ruling. Okay, so Abiskar and Naeus Yeah.
And Gregorios.
and Gregorius. Okay.
Well, actually, I think it's just Gregorios and Arbiskar.
You guys notice that people seem to be, you hear sounds from one of the larger buildings in the town, in the village, I should say. Looks like it might be a granary or something.
What kinds of sounds?
Sounds of just shuffling inside.
Arbiskar, do you hear that?
I do.
I don't
And, you know,
like the
he's going to
shuffles.
It's giving me the
What
creeps.
you start doing is like he has this sort of like strange looking belt at first. He undoes it. Turns out to be like out of the 3 slings that he carries, that one's the biggest, and he's loading a lead bullet on it.
Okay.
And he's going to look at Gregorius and say, I don't like it either.
The granary doesn't appear to have any windows, but it has a large door in the side, which is closed.
Gregorios kind of crosses his arms and says, "Well, I don't believe that I'm going to go over there anytime soon."
Tiberius scoffs at the remark and begins walking towards the door.
Fine.
He has a,
I call after. Fine.
Yeah.
You catch a disease then.
And Corvus also is like, what's all this about?
Wait. Corvus, what was his rank?
Tribune.
Tribune, yeah.
Tribune, we have heard shuffling noises coming from that place, from that granary. Don't like this. You want me to go give it a look?
He loads his,
As is Arbis
he
got
loads
a
his
touch out.
crossbow and he says, yes, I'll come in from behind.
so I
Alright.
sort of.
And
Go ahead, no.
I'm just gonna say that I'm gonna do it stealthily.
Okay.
Since I invested in the skill, might as well use it.
Is anyone else going to approach the granary?
No, Nias is actually standing back
No!
with Gregorius and actually agrees with him. But discretion is a better part of valor here.
Tiberius is definitely approaching it, but he's not doing it so stealthily. He kind of looks at Abiskar. He's like, "What are you doing?" And he's just like, he pulls up his big tower shield and he kind of just begins walking towards the door.
Nice.
No, Arbis is just going to shrug and being like, well, if they spot you, I will gladly let you take it.
Okay, so you approach the granary door. What do you do? Oh, Cedric, what did you say you were doing?
I'm gonna approach the granary door as well. I'm
Okay.
just gonna draw my swords and just wait for somebody else to open it.
Decimus, what do you do? This is going to be great.
Standing back with Naeus and Gregorius and just kind of astounded by this whole thing. Like, not on guard with weapons or anything, just kind of like fascinated and kind of in awe of the whole thing, but definitely not. If anything, kind of taking a few steps back, but just fascinated by these guys who are just like charging, like proceeding towards
Mic
it. 'Cause
off.
He's just got no inkling to do it.
Mic on.
Okay, so what do you do when you approach the door?
Is that
You can now clearly hear hushed voices inside, and
Well, who would
Shotgun.
get
All
there
right,
first?
I kind of look at Abiskar. I'm gonna grasp the door with one hand, my free hand, and my shield's in the other. So
Mhm.
I'm looking at him. I'm giving him like the 1, 2, 3 count.
I'm gonna do like this, like the wait, and like I'm gonna cautiously, like put my ear against the, like against more to the side of the door, just in case someone decides to, like shoot at the door or something.
I do believe there's something like listen, correct?
There is, yeah, I think so.
Oh, yeah.
Listen, yes.
So make a listen.
I definitely should have invested in this. Yes. Well, here goes nothing.
Hey,
Nope.
You failed twice. You're a double failure.
So you can't differentiate any sounds from one sound from another.
So I kind of
Yeah,
look at him
I'm
and I'm just whispering, uno, unos, duo, tres, and I rip open the door.
So the door is locked and it just goes, and you hear on the inside a large group of people go like, oh, and you hear them all shuffle back in, and you hear someone yell, go away! There's nothing for you here!
What's
So
going
I'm-
on in here?
Yeah.
What's with all this secrecy? Where are all the people in this town?
Hang on one sec, I'll tell you what happens.
My character had opened the door and they were like, "Go away!" I'd be like, "You're right. Sorry. I'm going. You know what? You're totally right.
Yeah,
Who cares if you're having an orgy? That's not my business."
we can't help you. There's sickness to the east. We don't want to be contaminated. Go now!
Hiding out in a barn.
Does anyone care to make an insight roll?
Well, since you're gonna ask it like that,
I would like to, because I'm pretty good.
God damn it.
Is that an actual skill?
I would say that
I was
only
gonna say, where
those.
is that?
I would say only those that are at the door can make the insight check.
I'm done.
Insight is one of those that you have to input on the, like on that tab for other skills.
Roll
Lots of
20 is
fail.
being really slow. Crap.
There's a lot of failure in this game, isn't there?
Yeah, no, there is.
I'd have to type it, and I'm too lazy for that. So
It's all about the journey, Trevor. Okay, so you can't tell what is motivating such behavior from these people.
all right, so
That they would
I-
turn down fellow Romans.
Alright, so Naeus is going to take his Latias, his staff, and strike it down on the road several times and yell out, Citizens of Rome, within the granary, I suggest you come out before the Roman army comes in.
Make an insight check.
I don't know that I have insight. What's the,
Probably like 15% is probably about,
15%?
I'm guessing, but
Right.
you were close.
How about charm? Can I use charm?
Yeah, sure.
I'm a little bit better at that.
Since you're basically trying to persuade them at this point.
Gregorios puts his hand up to Naeus's face, just like a stop. And he approaches. He walks up to the gentlemen that are behind the at the open doors of the barn and says,
Well, the doors aren't open. They're just
"Oh, they're
going
not."
through the doors.
Oh, okay.
There seems to be one
Gotcha.
person as the spokesman for the village.
Right. Well, Gregorios approaches and says, "I think it would be most wise for you to open the door, for we have several armed men here who are ready to slaughter in the name of the Empire, should you decide to remain closed indoors. Now please, come out and we will kindly have a discussion about what is going on here. We simply want information.
So you hear like everything is like rhubarb, rhubarb, rhubarb.
And that would
You
be
can-
a persuasion for me.
Okay, so give me a check.
Damn.
You can be plague carriers.
Fuck this game.
Actually,
This game literally has
You know
nothing
what?
to do
Fuck
with
it.
the dice
I'm
roll.
gonna try.
So,
I know. That's so
I'm gonna
bad.
try. I'm
though.
just gonna.
So
I'm
I
just gonna
actually
be like,
passed my first roll. I do have insight. I didn't realize it. I just missed it, and it's at 60%. My first roll was a 41, so I don't know
That's
if I
right.
want to do anything with that.
Yeah. Okay, so the door opens and one person kind of like peeks his head out and looks at you. And you can tell they are terrified of something. We said we can't help you. Just leave us in peace.
What is it that you've seen?
We haven't seen anything. There's sickness to the east, and we don't want to get it. Now go.
Can you tell us of the sickness?
Are you down with the sickness?
Immersion.
That song queued up.
They are totally unwilling to help you in any way, shape, or form. And Corvus finally, after like 3 minutes, this is like, it's only a couple hours to the Gillian Outpost. Let's just ride on. You're a disgrace to the Legion.
Who, them or us?
They're a disgrace to the Empire.
Oh.
I never did like Lydia. Let us ride on. You're only like, at this point, a couple hours ride, so there's no point in his opinion, there's no point in trying to sleep here and get your throats cut in the night. So you ride on?
Yes.
Mhm.
Yeah, let's do it.
Are we just going to launch a last remark of, well, if this sickness affects the sight, then you probably caught it because we don't look sick at all.
Just
He
be off
yells up
with
to the
you.
bottom.
Now you know that regardless of whatever excuses they're proffering, they are very afraid of something.
Death is plague. It seems like definitely something to be afraid of.
So looking about the town, is there anything highly unusual about like the way they've been kind of? You said it's kind of agrarian. So
Yeah.
just
Mhm.
Decimus just kind of scans everything else to just kind of see if there's something. I mean, obviously there's nobody out and about, but if there's anything like out of the ordinary, like in
Ooh,
terms
okay.
of the way they're growing crops, kind of the is it a disheveled, messy houses like beyond what you would normally expect in that sort of low.
Okay. What kind of skill or attribute do you feel you have that would be appropriate here?
I would say arts and crafts farming, probably, to assess or I guess, well, I don't know if it'd be spot hidden, but if it's kind of an agrarian town,
Mm-hmm.
just kind of assessing not necessarily the whole cross-section of society, but just how they're farming, what the condition of their fields, kind of their farm implements. Does it seem like a normal farming village other than the fact that everyone's locked in the granary?
Yeah, absolutely. Go for it.
And does there seem to be any sign of like?
Wow, that was
conflict or anything?
awesome. 100.
Yeah, look at that. 100, a 99, and 100 are the last three rolls.
Now I know how Matt feels. The power.
Does there seem to be any sign of conflict? Carts overturned, anything burned? Look like there's been fighting or anything going on here?
What's the closest to like perception?
Spot hidden,
Probably spot
probably.
hidden, yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna say. For Gregarios probably has the best chance of
Of
knowing,
what?
spotting
Oh,
something.
perhaps if he wants to.
Actually, I'll say
Ask me
Gregarious and
first.
Decimus.
Mic off.
Make a spot hidden check.
Spot hidden?
Mm-hmm.
Hey, all right.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
So here's what strikes you as odd. For this size village, first of all, it looks like everything is well kept and that the fields are very well taken care of, like the other villages. However, for this time of year, they really shouldn't even be able to fit everyone in the granary. The granary should be full of food right now, but it's not. So if there's enough room for the entire village to hide in there, someone else has been eating their food. You know this. They're
Or
not
there's a
telling
lot
you.
less people in the town all of a sudden.
Hmm.
Like, couldn't that be the other scenario? Is like they've lost 75% of the town?
Absolutely could also be the case. Because you can't see inside, so you don't know how many
right.
in there.
I mean, there's
But you
more than
shouldn't-
one in there.
Yes, you shouldn't be able to fit
Mic on.
dozens of
The
people
whole
inside.
village
Right.
in a full granary or a fairly full granary.
Yes.
Are we gonna talk about how a granary locks from the inside?
Mic off.
Like, how are they gonna get in to lock the door if they can't?
They
get
could have
It's
in?
modified.
raised something against it, or
Yeah.
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 stop breaking our immersion.
Mic on.
Oh, sorry.
Tiberius.
So Decimus kind of mentions that to everyone else. That notion, just kind of shares it with everyone. Just kind of bringing about that point that it seems odd that they're able to fit everyone in there. If indeed they have a normal harvest for this time of year, that granary should be, more than full enough to not have the capacity for the entire village.
Now, did I notice anything interesting with the hard spot hidden roll, or did I just kind of notice the same thing?
Yeah, that basically the same thing. Their granary should be full because it's basically late winter. There shouldn't be.
Gregorios kind of puts his hand to his mouth to kind of call out to them. Tell me, where is all of your grain?
They basically just keep yelling at you guys to leave. He just keeps saying over and over again. Corvus is like, all right, enough is enough already.
Why
They're
don't
not
we
gonna-
just?
Corvus feels sorry for them. He's like, whatever little food they had is gone. It's going to be for them anyway. We're close enough to the outpost. Let's just go there. At least we can spend the night there.
I agree with Corvus. Let's mount up and leave immediately. This place gives me uncomfortable feelings.
I would argue the whole region does.
Leave them to their measly scraps of grain.
So Nil, I've
Bunch of
officially
dirt farmers.
Nil, I've officially decided that my character is just going to mistake you for a Gaul and just refer to you as the Gaul or Hey Gaul, even though you're not Gaul at all.
Oh, this is gonna be glorious.
So, I imagine that the ancient Greeks were probably pretty racist.
We
So-
only have one
Shut up, they probably
goth
were.
in the group, though, right? Is that Cedric is the only person
Yes.
of gothic? Okay.
He is of Gothic origin.
Okay.
But Arbuscar is from the Spain.
From
He's-
Hispania.
He's Iberian.
Yeah, in particular from the Balearic Islands.
But now,
Okay.
are you a Roman Iberian or are you a true Iberian?
By 300, everyone was Roman Iberian.
Okay.
Like the Celt Iberians by then had intermingled too much. And as in, while it took a long time to pacify and convert Hispania, it soon became like one of the most Romanized provinces once they finally subdued it. So yeah, by now he's completely Roman Iberian.
So I
So you
guess
guys-
we're still moving.
You gonna move on?
Yeah,
Okay.
press on.
So you remount up. You start heading out. The weather turns even worse. Now it starts to actually rain. And it looks like there's going to be no end in sight to the rain. After a short period of time, you see the Gillian Outpost in the distance. Seems to be like a normal Roman outpost, with the exception of the road divides 2 camps outside the city, 2 large tent camps. You're maybe a mile away from the outpost when 2 horsemen approach you, Roman legionaries, and they warmly welcome you, and they are super excited to see you. They look totally exhausted.
Can I try to see them like in more detail, like look very closely, like for any signs of illness, any signs of maybe malnutrition?
Sure, absolutely.
Would that just
Insight or spot hidden?
Or medicine, I would think.
Or medicine.
That's even worse. Medicine is a 1% for me. Nice.
Well, fuck.
Dang.
Damn.
I see everything.
Yeah, so you notice they seem to be just bone weary. So they are very welcoming to you, and they say, "Oh, so you came from Constantinople? That's wonderful. When is the rest of the Legion coming to help us?
Before
We're
they
stuck
get too,
here."
before they get too close, I'd say keep your distance.
And they understand. They say, "You'll see conditions in the camp. But when is the rest of the Legion coming?" And Corvus kind of looks at you all, closes his throat a little bit, and says, "Well, the rain's washed out the road behind us, and it's going to take about 3 days for them to get around it." And the soldiers are like, "Oh, yes, oh, thank goodness. The reinforcements are coming." And he kind of looks at you like, Ixnay on the Uth tray. So you approach as you approach the outpost, you can see there are clearly 2 camps outside it. Do you have any questions for the soldiers as you ride to the outpost? I mean, he's going to take you straight to the Centurion in charge.
Yeah, so let's ask them as we're like riding on the way there, like, what's the situation here? What's been going on?
So they say the plague is bad. You'll hear more when you get briefed by the captain. But they desperately need, they said, "We're running out of manpower here, and we desperately need help. We can't man the walls and take care of the sick." And it is spread to all the surrounding villages east of here. And we're getting refugees, as you can see, coming in by the hundreds, and we can't contain them all. So you see the camps look about equally spread out. On the one side, they point out, is the camp of the refugees that are coming from the other villages. On the other side is the camps of those that are sick with the plague. So you kind of ride right through the middle of this.
What's the distance between those 2 camps?
They're right on opposite sides of the road.
Well, yeah, I'm saying like width-wise, general distance.
Yeah, 100 feet.
Roman highways were pretty wide.
Gregorios kind of crosses his arms and looks at the 2 soldiers and says, "Is it wise keeping your healthy so close to your sick?"
And they comment that they have an excellent physician taking care of those that are sick.
Physician or not, plague is plague. Infection is rampant.
Well, it hasn't spread to everyone yet.
Right, but, my character at least understands, how serious a plague is, and that you don't mess around with it. You don't take any risks.
Right, but they have to have everyone within sight of the walls, even if they won't let them in for fear of spreading contagion. They can't help anyone if something were to happen.
Even with his argument about this, Gregorius is very much a smarmy know-it-all. And he just kind of scoffs at him and says, "Well, I won't be surprised when you're all dead within a week."
So Corvus says, "Gregorius, how would you handle this situation?"
How would I handle the situation?
We
Quite
have
honestly.
total control, so what changes should we implement before the Legion gets here, you know?
Yes, I can't wait to hear this.
Nor can I.
And the 2 soldiers are like, "Yes, tell us, what would you do different?"
Gregorios looks at them. This is gonna be good, okay? This is gonna be really good. He's gonna say, "Well, it's not my place to say. I'm not a Roman." He says, "Why don't perhaps you should ask one of your Roman fellows here, Gnaeus, for example. He seems to be the genius of our group. What with his knowledge of chicken blood and guts and birds and shit."
Give us a charm check.
Once again, Decimus just kind of looks down at his hands and like kind of covers them with talk of animal feces. And
Wait, am I
just look again?
Am I making a charm check, or is Gnaeus making a charm check?
Gregorius is making a charm check.
Oh, I'm not trying to charm anybody.
No, but I guess it's...
Nah.
So they're not buying it. They're like, no, we want to hear from you.
Oh, great. I get to sit here and solve the situation. Well, first of all, I'd increase the distance between your sick and your healthy. And despite how silly it may seem, feed your sick more than you feed your healthy. They'll last longer.
They kind of look at each other at that comment.
Yeah, so the plague, they're gonna die, my guy. This isn't like...
Well, we don't know if they're going to die
21st
for
century.
certain.
Well, you could just off them now. Put them all in a big pile and...
Yes, we could all be barbarians like you, couldn't we?
Stay alive a lot longer, that's for sure.
So we're all out for our own individual survival, then?
Corvus says, now, gentlemen, I'm depending on you to keep your cool, especially in front of the other soldiers. We're here to be part of a relief force, remember? And we have to get to the bottom of these rumors.
If we're providing relief, then we shouldn't be killing the dead. That's not relief, except for the living and the healthy.
Our orders were explicit, Gregorios. I know
just
you're
gonna
here on
discuss
some
it.
special dispensation, but my orders were quite explicit. What needs to be done. We're to put
Our
down
discussion
any
is
rebellion
discussed.
and eliminate the plague.
So I imagine what's actually happening is that this is a more like once it got into that like argument, like I imagine Corvos brought us in and was like, it's more of a whisper thing so that the soldiers don't hear any of that.
Oh no, not at all. This is amongst yourselves as they're kind of escorting you through the outpost. So, upon arriving at the outpost, you notice there are about 100 soldiers that are stationed here, and they're all basically exhausted because they're being forced to work many long hours trying to maintain order in the outpost, handle the refugees. They're not manning their fields. They're afraid of the plague. They're not bringing any food from there, so they only have what supplies are available in the city itself. And they lead you to the office of the Centurion in charge. And... okay. So he greets you guys, but he is a little confused. He says, obviously your reputation precedes you, and I would never think wrongly of the Magister, but I wonder why he would send someone from the Fortus Falconis here, because why would elite scouts be sent here to render assistance in a plague scenario? And Corvus kind of goes, Gregorios. Or Gnaeus, maybe you can explain why we were sent here.
Well, despite all the hot air my friend Gregorius is spouting, he might talk a good game about taking care of plague, but has very little skills in actually treating plague. I myself am a trained medic, and my
Gregorius
skills...
scoffs and says, medic.
And I was brought on board to this venture to help the poor Roman folks who have been struck down by the plague. So I am here to help those who have been hurt by this. My fellow soldiers here will have to explain their own reasons for being here.
So Longinus says, But the Legion is behind you, right? They are coming to help, are they not? He looks eagerly.
Yes. We left them behind a few days ago. There was
Corvus interrupts. He goes, "We can be frank with the Centaurus. No, there's no one coming. We're it." And Longinus is like, just heartbroken. And Corvus goes, "However, we've done this sort of thing before, right, men?" And he turns to you.
Gregorios is just wide-eyed, like...
Sure.
I just got a nod.
Still not exactly sure what sort of thing we're doing here.
Cedric's just like...
So Centaurus Longinus then gives you the sit rep. So he explains that for months now they've been receiving reports of these zealots that have been running around, and they refer to themselves as the Flayed, and they've been extorting the villages for supplies. However, when they went to investigate, they couldn't find any signs of any cultists anywhere. However, reprisal attacks started happening on the villages. Any village that asked for help was met with quick reprisal. So it was about this time that a villager claimed that his wife had been bitten by a bat while she slept, and she died soon after of a disease that they're calling the Valerian Plague. The plague itself causes high fever and death. There are 2 villages that have been completely depopulated, and the scouts report finding blood and corpses everywhere. Some of the dead were plague victims, but others appeared to have been healthy but were flayed. About the same time, dozens of refugees started showing up. Many of them are sick, but some of them aren't. The refugees from this village of Calicoi told wild stories of cultists running around, but he doesn't believe the stories. He thinks that the illness is known to cause hallucinations, so Longinus doesn't wash with him. He did send a detachment there, but they were ambushed, and that brought his numbers from 150 down to less than 100 soldiers. So he's not going to go back.
Ambushed by whom?
By these cultists. These wild men referred to themselves as the Flayed.
Perhaps Aeneas would know something about these cultists.
I know nothing of such cultists, but I will rack my brain on this plague using my maybe medicine skill. Does this sound like anything that I've come across or know of in my studies?
No, but you can go to the village and speak with the physician Abrax.
Abrax?
Mm-hmm. And
Now,
find out more.
With a natural world check, would I know anything about any particular bats that bite people?
Yeah, do you want to make a check, or you just want
Sure,
to
no, I'll
use
make a
that
check.
Hey!
Nice.
Finally.
My mouse is being weird. There we go.
Ah.
Wow, nice. No, you've heard nothing like this. It sounds absolutely preposterous. Doesn't keep with anything you know about medical science or anything. Why would a random bat bite one person and then spread a disease of this magnitude? Doesn't make any sense whatsoever. It'd be one thing if it was, a plague of bats that came through their disease carriers, but a single doesn't wash. Sounds like a hallucination.
And that's exactly how Gregorios goes about it, too. Well, it sounds preposterous to me, like it simply hallucinated a singular bat spreading a disease. Ridiculous. Ludicrous, even.
I make a remark to the Centurion about asking him how organized these zealots must be in order to defeat 50 armed legionnaires.
They fight like wildcats. And no one made it back alive, so he doesn't know. However, he did send a 4-man patrol yesterday to follow up, and they have not returned.
And
So now he's going to send us in.
Well, he's
He
batting
can't
down.
order us without, yeah.
He at this point is batting down the hatches. They're just
Yeah.
holding on at this point and trying to do the best they can. Now
And
he
whereabouts
had
was
sent a
this?
messenger to the Magister, and he was hoping that the Legion would be coming, but he got you instead. So you guys are gonna have to make it right.
And whereabouts was this on the map here, there, Ben?
Hang on, I'll show you. Okay, so if you look at the Lydian frontier map, Calicoy is the village to the far east. It's the furthest east from where you are. It's about 7 miles away.
Well, it definitely sounds like our first matter of business should be to head to the city. Not only has there been confirmed presence of zealots there, but we may get some idea of what they're up to. Plus,
I'd like to go speak to Abrax and see what his experiences have been with this Valerian plague or whatever.
Yes, I imagine I'll go with Neas to speak with this physician as well.
Always on my coattails, Gregorius.
If only you had coattails to be ridden. Leave that to the educated.
Does anyone else want to go to the... well, actually, you can do a couple things. You can try and find out rumors from the refugees. You can go to the plague camp and talk to Abrax.
I must say I'm passing on going to the plague
Plague
camp.
I think I'll walk amongst refugees, see if I can't see anything like maybe, people being like mischievous or anyone trying to look like they're being. What's the phrase I'm looking for?
This is the
Sketchy.
thing, in my case, I'll be patrolling like outside of the camp just in case someone decides to, like, I don't know, like maybe a refugee tries to get out of the camp and get into the city or something.
Mm-hmm.
I'll be patrolling.
So you are going to the refugee camp, or you're going to Tiberius, or are you staying in the outpost?
Tiberius is going to walk amongst the refugee camp, see if he can't find anyone sketchy or mischievous looking.
Okay.
Decimus would also like to walk into the clean side of the refugee camp with kind of a light load, as much as he can kind of get away with setting aside in terms of armor, helmet, like kind of a stripped down version, not like fully armed to the teeth. He's just kind of going to go walk amongst the people and basically shoot the shit and just listen for rumors.
Okay. So the situation in the refugee camp is terrible. I mean, they're stuck out in the rain and the cold. It's a miserable situation. They have no food. They're basically stuck here waiting for something to happen. There are several rumors that are floating around, so I would say, what would be a good check to make?
Read lips.
Yeah, I would say pick an attribute or pick a skill that you feel works, and then I will.
Charm or fast talk or something like that.
I
Yeah,
mean,
whatever
if I'm just like,
appropriate.
if I'm eavesdropping, I feel like that's more of like a spot hidden. But if I'm like going up and asking them about it, then I feel like that might be like a charm.
Mm-hmm.
It could also be listen.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I would like to use is listen.
Okay.
It's just,
So let's work.
Then I'll use a spot hidden, just more of a discreet.
Okay.
Eavesdrop.
Decimus, you can make the roll first.
nope.
It's an awful lot of hundreds.
Yeah.
So you hear a rumor that it's believed to be a new form of rabies.
Has rabies been discovered yet?
I'll be right back.
Apparently, yeah.
And now there's a new form.
Cedric,
Rabies 2.
where are you going and how are you?
I'm going to the refugee camp, but Cedric is going to make like He's seen plague. He's seen plague before, though nothing of this magnitude.
Mhm.
But he's going to He's going to make like a makeshift like mask to tie around his face.
Okay.
You're very early for your time, there, Cedric.
He knows it's airborne.
Yeah.
Where
I mean, like,
everyone
usually
else
what they
knows
did was
it's
stuff it with, with like, basically stuff like, like herbs and such, because they thought
Posies.
it propagated through smell.
yeah.
So,
I mean,
like,
everyone.
if it,
No,
it's just
go
that like, ironically enough, those same scent like vinegar and all that stuff, they had antibacterial properties.
Yeah.
That's
So
why
he-
we have
they weren't too
a
far.
ring around the rosy pocket full of posies.
Yeah.
Ashes.
So
Yeah.
Cedric is going to ask Gregorios if he can borrow some of his perfume to put on the mask.
He's asking
Greek is not
Gregorios.
Greek is not amused.
So Gregorios crosses his arms and says, "It is not perfume that I wear, it is simply I bathe with water. Something I think you could stand to do."
Alright, I'm gonna take a look around the camp, see if I can find anybody being sketchy or mischievous.
You're talking about the refugee camp.
Refugee camp, correct.
Okay, so Cedric, we'll cut to you first. The rumor you hear is that it is a punishment from God and a sign of the coming apocalypse.
Wait, did Cedric roll?
Or did I just hear this?
Oh, it was Shane that did that roll.
Yeah,
Sorry.
I didn't roll anything.
Well, you heard that rumor anyway.
Okay.
As you're
Right.
walking through the town, now you're the only, you three are the only like Roman actual soldiers that are in the village. That everyone
Well, not
else.
Abascar. Abascar, I don't know where he is. It was.
Oh, you're in the
Decimus,
outpost?
Cedric, and Tiberius. Yeah.
I'm basically patrolling on the outside. Yeah.
Okay, there's no actual guard, inside the refugee camp. There's no reason for anyone to watch them. But you hear shouting from the far side of the camp.
All of us?
No, Tiberius. And Cedric.
So I look at Cedric and I give him a wave, and I start trotting in that direction.
I will follow.
So you see two men having a bitter argument, screaming at each other at like the top of their lungs. They look like they're ready to just about come to blows at this point.
Alright. Break it up.
So these two guys are yelling, and the one is saying, basically what happened is both men have lost their children to the plague. Well, one of them, his wife recovered from the illness, but the other one didn't. So he's saying that it's a punishment from God, and they're both devout Christians. And the other guy is like, how can you say that? They are super concerned about their immortal souls, which are going to be concerned here about the deaths, like the outcome of their fallen kin.
Where's Gregorios?
I'm over at the physician's
And he's
area
like,
with Deus.
explain to him, tell him that he deserves everything that happened to him. Tell him.
So I'm going to try and intimidate them. I am going to tell them to stand down.
Okay, go for it.
And then, so I'm gonna try and intimidate them to knock that shit off, and it's not gonna work.
Well,
God.
Cedric is going to kind of roll his eyes at that pitiful attempt at scaring these two. And he's going to grab each one of these soldiers by the scruffs of their necks and tell them to knock it off. Roll 20's being so slow.
Yeah.
Good music, Ben.
Thank you.
Agreed.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh,
Jeez.
nice.
Thanks, yo.
An extreme success.
Good job, man.
You intimidate the
Citrus
intimidators. All right. So, what are you intimidating them into?
To stop fighting and shut up because you're annoying me.
Says the jacked dude with 2 swords.
So they are cowed into subservience. And they're like, of course, of course, of course, of course. And then the one of them says, everyone knows that the plague was spread by this cult anyway. This isn't a punishment from God. This is from this crazies that are holed up in the village.
Yeah, so I've heard. What can you tell me about them?
Ooh.
Ooh.
There's lots they can tell you. They're lunatics. And I heard that they mutilate themselves as a sign of devotion to their god.
Oh god, they're Gnostics.
They're worse. They're Gothics. They are all goths.
Black hair, black eye paint.
Yes. They listen to Sisters of Mercy. They're all heretics and murderers. They're granted dark powers. I mean, these guys have every rumor in the book, basically. They've ruined crops. They've spread disease. They control the bat that spreads the plague. That's a common theme that you hear. And they have a hidden temple somewhere in the mountains, you hear.
Has anyone seen this temple?
Well, no, not as such, no. Just as none of them have actually seen any members of this cult.
I live to tell the tale.
So, everything that they're hearing is just, pure rumors. But they're convinced they're true. They believe that everything they're saying is true. And then they're hearing that all of the members, the elders of all the villages, they're the heads of the cult.
What's the elder of this village? What's his name?
Oh, from
the village that we're
at. Calico. Oh no, you're at the Gillian Outpost.
Right. I mean, what's the closest village to here?
No one survived from the next 2 villages over. So if you look at that map, the next 2 were
Serinke.
Yeah, their populations were completely destroyed by the plague.
But Kalikori is not.
No, but so far any attempts for the Legion to go there have not ended well.
They're probably just having a giant orgy down there.
Yeah, they're just living it up.
Yeah.
This isn't Greece.
That's why the Romans didn't return.
So who is going to talk to Abrax?
That's Neas and Gregorios.
Oh, he's an old dude, so he's like, oh, man, I'm trying to keep my voice low so I can't go high-pitched. He's a nice old man. He seems like a really good doctor, too. So he's busy, he's exhausted. He understands that you guys are representatives of Constantine, and so he will take a short break from caring for the sect to help you in any way possible.
Is he Roman?
He's Greek.
Would I recognize from his facial features?
Recognize whether he's...
like skin tone and facial features?
That he's Greek?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, for sure.
I'd greet him in my own language and kind of give him like a sort of a handshake, arm claps thing.
Mm-hmm. He's very pleased to meet you, and any way I can help you. What would you like to know?
Well, I would say before I start questioning him, introduce myself. Say, Ave Abrix. I'm nice and Pronius. I have some skills in the medicinal arts. I'd like to offer you my assistance here. It looks like you're overworked and exhausted. If I can maybe help you out a little bit, maybe I could ask you a few questions as we work together.
He says that I would appreciate it. So he goes on to explain that he doesn't think there's much. Basically, he's doing palliative care. There's not much he feels can be done for them.
Mm-hmm.
He's not sure if it's a disease or a venom, but it does seem to be transmitted by bites.
Okay.
So those that suffer from the disease appear to have bites or scratches on them.
And what type of bites are they like, and where are they typically located?
Yeah, so he says, well, you'll see. It's best that you at least see some who are suffering from it because the symptoms are just so strange. So they don't manifest for a couple of days after the infection has started. But once the infection starts, it lasts for exactly 6 days.
While he's talking, I'm kind of looking him over for any bites or scratches he might have on himself.
Yes, he appears to be clean.
Okay.
And you can tell he's totally sane. He's not affected at all by the disease. He points out that early symptoms are high fever, weakness, fatigue, sensitivity to light. There's some confusion, and then later on, they follow with debilitating pain, madness, and open skin lesions along the length of the spine. Once a patient reaches that point, they keep them sedated with poppy nectar out of mercy. So there's nothing they can do. 4 in 10 people with the plague die. It's usually the old and the frail or the very young. A patient that survives past the 6th day slowly recovers. So he says that he advises interviewing those that have survived the plague. The lesions of those that succumb to it, however, it becomes one continuous open sore, and care has to be taken when handling the bodies. He's unsure whether the dead should be buried or burned.
Burn.
Well,
No, you must absolutely burn them.
His fear is that if you burn them, the smoke might become infectious. And if you bury them, the water table will become. However, he wants you to look at the body dump and advise as to what you think would be a smart thing to do.
Okay.
Oh, I say burn them.
So
We know
can
what
we
you're
take a
gonna
look
say.
at that and maybe roll medicine or something like that to...
Yes. So just so you know, he's a man of science. So he dismisses all this malarkey about monsters and bats and all the stuff about this weird cult, and he just thinks it's all part of the fever delusions.
So he is just like of the Greek-minded science. He's like Gregorius.
Mm-hmm. Yep. So you have
Outnumbered by Greeks.
you have a couple of choices. You can go to the body dump, or you can investigate those that have recovered from the plague.
Well, I'd like to investigate, or I'd at least like to make a guess. And I guess the only way I'd be able to make an educated guess about this is by actually visiting the bodies. So Gregorius would probably go visit the body dump to make a decision on whether or not the body should be burned or buried.
Okay.
And that's where I'm going as well.
Very good.
Oh no.
Excellent choice.
Oh boy.
Oh. Oh. This bad.
I load my 45. And I aim for the head.
Okay. So since you chose to go to the body dump first,
Are we gonna regret this decision?
not at all.
Oh, good.
Our big
Am I
friend
going to
here's
regret not pulling
screams
up a
coming
second
from
character yet?
So here we go to the body dump. Okay, so let me show you a pretty picture. This is a fun one.
Oh,
Okay, so basically what they've done is they've dug a trench. If you look at the map, you can see that it's outside of the outpost. You can see the outpost in the distance there. They have a couple of guards posted, but the guards really are nowhere near where the actual bodies are. You approach and you see this long trench just full of dozens of bodies. As you approach, you can see, let's see, who has medicine or anything like a medical?
I have first aid.
Yeah, I have first aid. But
I've got medicine at 71.
Okay, so as far as I know, only Naeus and Gregorius are going to the body dump. Is anyone going with them?
Would they even
Not
know?
me. I'm not there.
Probably
no.
not.
yeah, I wasn't there, so.
Decimus is not going to the body dump.
I would think that would be something you probably wouldn't be into. So you can see there are well over 24 bodies laid out just at first glance. With
How
kind
many?
of well over 24.
Oh, okay.
Kinda. As you walk over, Abrax explains that most of them are villagers, but 6 of them were legionaries.
You say they were all bitten, yes?
Yes, most curious, but what is even more curious is the fact that there's no scent of decay that comes from the corpses. So there are no flies, no scavengers have even approached the area. We keep the bodies fully clothed.
Well, what were they bitten
But,
by?
well, you'll see.
Is that what he says?
What's that?
I say, and what were they bitten by? Each other?
During their hallucinations, perhaps? It's hard to tell. The bites don't seem to... It's not like they're bitten by an animal, per se. He doesn't know. But not all of them bear bite marks, either. Some of them have scratches that seem to have become infected. So as you approach the bodies, you notice that although they're fully clothed, they otherwise are skinless, these bodies. And you each lose 4 sanity points.
Well, it's a good thing that... Wait. Oh, my current and start are not listed.
Your current is your POW.
Okay, so 60. Is my start 60 as well?
Is all your talk of filleting bodies disturbing the household there, Ben?
Yes, big time.
Oh, did she come in and tell you to be quiet?
Big time. So you lose 4 sanity just from viewing it. If you take a look at the picture, you'll notice that some of the bodies look like they've been disturbed.
Disturbed in what manner?
Like moved or
Necrophilia.
Yeah, like they've been, instead of being lined up nicely, some of them look like they're turned over.
I'll ask Abrix about that. I'll ask him if that was something that was done when they were thrown in there, or have they been moved since they were placed?
Yeah, he says, no, he had no report of this happening at all.
Is there a smell?
None. You can make either a track, a listen, or a spot hidden check at this point.
Very strange that there is no smell coming from decaying bodies, especially ones as skinless as these. And how long did you say they've been dead for?
For days.
That's
Which is
very
why
strange. And it's not cold either, because it's March.
Yep. So you hear something moving about underneath the pile.
It's a bat.
Burn it with fire!
Gregorios kind of like puts his hands out like this, like across the ditch, and it's like, I think we should all back up. I don't like the sound of moving, shuffling noises.
Corpses, right?
That's Gregorios' worst fear, shuffling noises.
All this shuffling is making me uneasy.
Pretty much.
My question is, since I was patrolling on the outside of the camp, would I see those two? Well, you know,
If you were
them
outside the
neighbors.
camp, I would say you definitely would see them leave. Because the ditch is to the north of the camp, and the entry into the outpost is south. So they would have had to pass through.
Then yeah, I will be following them just, without them noticing me.
Okay, so you are stealthily walking behind them. You see them stop, kind of like start and then back away.
Gregorios points to one of the guards who's near the ditch, who has a spear, and says, "You there, come, turn this body over with your spear."
Well, you have to remove the tarp first.
Right.
Remove this top with your spear.
Essentially, yes. That's essentially what Gregorius... But Gregorius basically orders him to, like, uncover what's shuffling and whatnot.
Because
Okay.
he doesn't like shuffling.
So you can't make out what it is, but there seem to be some things kind of skidding around underneath.
Under the tarp?
No, under the corpses.
Oh, under the corpses.
It's
Mhm.
face huggers.
So as they're kind of like moving stuff to kind of get a better look, whatever it is, keeps like trying to skid away. You can't see what it is.
Abrix, have you encountered any such things before?
He's just like, no, this is
We're about to get a TPK right
very
here.
irregular.
Gregorius kind of looks at Naeus and kind of leans over and whispers, "Despite my intrigue and my interest, I don't know
Hey,
what just
you're
happened
back.
to the internet. Yeah,
You just pulled a soprano, man. You
All
just,
I
like,
heard was
left, like,
despite,
mid-sentence.
and that's where it dropped out.
Despite.
despite
Despite.
despite my interest in what's going on, yeah, I lean over and I'm whispering, despite the intrigue here of what's going on, I think we should leave immediately.
I agree with your suggestion. I don't think that this is a safe place to be at the moment.
So at that moment,
Ah!
Holy shit.
What the fuck is that?
you see
Its
three
name
of
is
these
Phil.
kind of slink out from the far side of the ditch and scurry/drag themselves towards the woods
How
beyond.
fucking big are
So
they?
they're going away from us?
Yes, they are moving
Wow.
away.
Bullets.
Oh, lordy.
Oh,
Let them go. I mean, raised my staff up probably just out of pure panic after seeing something like that. Not that I'm going to be able to do much with it, but
I'm just gonna. You're just going to notice that he's there by the crack of the sling, lobbing a lead bullet towards.
Two things happen. First, Naeus, Gregorios, and Arviskar lose 3 sanity,
all right.
and then you're going to attempt to shoot this thing.
Yes.
and then Gregorios is like sprinting in the opposite direction of wherever those things are going. I'm not kidding. He is sprinting.
Yeah.
Hey, Neil, did you forget the part where he talked about messing with the creatures of Cthulhu fuck you up every time? Were you not there for that session?
So Nil's running one direction, and you're running the
I'm not
other
running-
direction. And
Look
I'm
it out.
going-
He's
I'm
breaking out his
Gregorios.
book and his glasses. You're so fucked, Neil. He's gonna.
You see a blur of
So what is-
saffron and purple toga robes go running past you in the opposite direction.
What is your dex, Arviskar?
What is that? My attacks?
Your dex.
Oh, my dex. I have dex of 80.
Okay, so you are not faster than this thing.
Oh,
Yeah, nice try, 80, Dex.
You're just
Oh,
a
boy.
human.
So did I mention that Gregorios went sprinting the opposite direction? I just want to
Once
make
or
that
twice.
very,
Once or-
very clear.
Yeah, once or twice. Hey, did you guys lose Matt?
Yeah.
Oh
Yeah.
no.
Has he
He
come
might
back?
have. He might have just paused his camera.
Yeah. Oh.
I mean, what's this? We've got
I mean, if
everyone
it just
in
looks.
the
Oh no, I guess it would have the pause mark on it.
Yeah, I would have the pause.
Yeah.
Did we lose Adam too?
No,
No,
let's
I
just
got
go
it.
him.
Oh, there's
Matt's
Matt.
back.
No, I tried to refresh. There he is.
Welcome back.
Matt, did you see our little monster?
No, when Trevor froze up, I reloaded because everything was freezing up for me. So no.
Dude, yeah, Roll20's being really screwy tonight.
Well, look at the handouts at the one called Phil.
Oh, we found Phil.
Yep, we found Phil.
Oh yeah, we found Phil. All right.
Oh.
Yeah.
So
How
Arbisker,
how big is this thing?
man-sized, I would say.
Ooh.
Oh.
Jesus.
That's why I said
So-
Gregorios.
So
gone.
myself and Gregorius are running like
Run.
holy hell,
Run,
and
run.
Arbiskar is shooting slings at it.
However,
Yeah,
he's
like,
not
see,
nearly
I
as
think, like-
fast.
I've
So-
got a sling, so might as well,
So while everyone else flees in panic, Arbiskar starts. So two of them scurry off. The third one makes for you.
Oh, you're fucked.
So
What about the legionaries?
you have a choice. You can try and dodge. You can try to run away, or you can fight back.
You're not faster than this thing.
Yeah.
Just
So
remember
basically,
that.
I've seen that this thing is extremely fast, right?
Extremely fast, you said, or fat?
Fast. Oh no.
No,
oh
they're
wait, no, the first
extremely
one
fat.
did pass. The first one passed. Okay. For some reason, it rolled twice. But yeah, I'm dodging the thing. Just ole. Like running at the bulls.
He is spam.
So,
Yeah, he is.
oh, so your first one. Okay, yes.
Yeah.
So it drags itself over to you and swipes at you with its weird tentacle thing.
Appendages.
The whole
gonna get
thing
the
appears
plague,
to
my
be
guy.
like an empty shopping bag. Is like what it looks like, except that the ends of it are like calcified into sharp claws.
What if this thing just slaps you in the face with his tentacle and then runs away?
That's what I'm saying. You're gonna get the plague, my guy.
No, I mean the first thing that I'm going to say, like after I dodge the creature, I'm going to yell to the other two legionaries that are nearby, like,
Help!
this is supposed to be your job. I am not a close combat specialist.
And you hear from over the hill, Naeus yells out, "No, nor am I!" as he runs away.
Gregorius is like, I've never thrown something in my life. Or swung a sword.
It's your turn, Arbiskar.
Can I try to disengage and like try and basically skirmish it?
What do you mean?
Load another bullet as I pull back and like toss it at it.
Yeah, you mean like a tactical retreat?
Yeah.
But
I guess
I
I'm
think
just
he
trying
wants
to
to
like
attack.
yeah,
like-
it would be basically like I'm backstepping as I try to pelt it with the sling.
Yes,
Because I'm not engaging in melee.
I would say that to do so would be a hard.
Right. Well, dice don't fuck me today.
Hey.
Yeah,
Hey,
that's great.
Nice shot. Nice shot.
So I'm rolling. And you hit it.
Nice.
So roll damage.
All right. Well, the damage will be automatically rolled. I only got 2
It
points of
bounces
damage.
off its rubbery hide.
More or less. So it's just like, and that's it. Just like jumps at you. So are you trying to dodge
Yes.
or fight back? Okay.
I'm dodging.
Okay, roll.
Damn, my guy, you're doing good.
Yeah, dude.
Good rolls.
I rolled to be a skirmisher, and by God, that is the thing that I'm good at.
Okay, yes, you successfully dodge it.
I'm pretty much going to engage on that same, like, I guess, like running retreat, and what are the two legionaries doing?
They are just terrified. They're just like,
How is your dodge that high? Did you put more
I
points into the
spent on
dodge?
the point. And besides, like, dodge is half of your dexterity at start, so I already had the dexterity of 40. A dodge of 40.
So then you put an additional
base.
40 points into it.
Yeah. That's why I've got it at 80. And, I'm gonna pelt it again.
okay, 45. If you fail, you trip and fall, though.
I got it.
Nice.
Wow, you're doing better than we've done all day.
Damage.
3.
I got 3.
Oh, I see. You did the roll right after. Okay, great. So you've done 5 in total so far. All right, one more round. What are you gonna try to do?
No, I mean, again,
Yeah.
I'm just going to yell to to the legionaries, if you're not going to help, at least go find someone that will.
They run to the outpost yelling.
And I'm gonna skirmish it yet again.
Okay, so you're going to attempt to dodge first?
Dang, yo.
Oh yeah, I'm definitely going to try and dodge.
Okay.
Oh my
Oh.
god.
Man, those
Bro,
rolls.
These
Nice.
rolls.
what the hell happened? We went from like 100s to like
Yeah.
2s.
I've
Just-
rolled multiple
Okay,
hundreds tonight.
He's rolling really well. Just wait until he misses one dodge, and let's see what happens.
Yeah. All I need to do is one wrong step and I'm fucked.
So I will take that
Nice
slingshot
rolling, though.
from before, which is awesome, and you can roll damage twice for that.
Nice.
Oh, nice.
Nice.
So 2 and then 2.
God damn it. Or 4 total, I would guess.
Oh, I see what happened here. Okay, so it's 4 and 5 is 9. No, it's still good. All right. Are you attempting to dodge again?
Yes.
Oh my
Oh.
god, dude.
Oh, nice. Yeah, you beat it. You beat its roll again.
Kill
At this point,
fucker.
Naeus is standing on like a little rise, like a little ways off in the distance, just like
Yes.
watching this.
And Gregorios is like on Naeus' shoulder, like looking over his back. Like,
Just running around it in a circle, like, dink!
Yeah.
Mhm. Hey, this time I rolled 4 damage.
Yeah.
I got a
Nice.
hard hit.
Yeah, you down it.
Yeah.
down it.
Nice.
It lumps to the ground.
I'm gonna take a few more steps back and I'm gonna pelt it again. Just in
like-
case. Does it react when I pelt it again?
It doesn't. It just sags like an empty sack.
Makes a little fart noise as the air
Oh yeah.
goes out. It's a whoopee cushion.
Out of
Yeah.
What in God's name was that thing? That's
Gregorios
what
is like,
others are
there is no
thinking.
god.
Goddamn agnostics.
So what would you like to do?
Well, as is right now, like on one hand I'm going to, like, I guess stand watch. And, like, any sling bullets that are not near the thing, I'm going to pick those. Any that are, like, within, like, 3 meters or less of that creature, I'm just giving them my
Yeah,
loss
the other
for the time
creatures
being.
basically used the cover of the trench to get away, and they slunk off towards the woods on the other side, but they're leaving a pretty clear trail.
I am
Well, I'm
not
gonna
falling
go
for
over
alone.
and I'm gonna shake Arbiscar's hand and say, "Some fine shooting with that sling, my friend."
So the guards brought Corvus, and he comes running over and just looks at the thing, and he's like, "What on earth is this?"
Can I make a natural world roll to convince myself that it is just a mutated fuckery of some animal that already exists?
Yeah, so you've lost, what, 7 sanity so far? Just from today?
Uh-huh.
Ben
I,
down a good guy.
I cannot even convince myself that this is some mutated fuckery.
Just can't wrap your brain around it. I'm gonna approach it and kind of prod it with my my staff a little bit. Take a look at it.
Okay.
I'm loading another sling.
Human
Unless it's
human
bullet.
intrigue. Let's poke it with
See
a
if I
stick.
can. Yeah. Maybe use my medicine skill or something like that to see if I can determine like its physiology or its.
Well, you haven't looked at the plague victims yet, so
Yeah.
you've only seen those that have succeeded, or those who basically succumbed to the plague. You haven't seen any survivors, so you can't really identify
Yeah.
anything about this.
Gregorios does cross his arms though and say, "We do need to take this as a specimen for study. I don't know how we're going to transport it though.
Yeah.
I am not touching it.
No one is touching it. Lest it be with a spear or a or a catapult.
Well, let's go check out the bodies then. The body dump again.
I
Going
mean,
back.
So here's my question. Here's what I'm thinking. Is
So
this
Corvus
like...
sees the trail and he goes,
Is
"Why
this
don't
the
we
bad
follow
thing?
this trail and see where it leads
Is
to?"
this the cultist?
No, I'm wondering if this is what the corpses are turning into.
Yeah, I think that's what Gregorios' line
Or
of
were
thought
they
was.
there, like, feeding on them?
Then we should definitely burn them.
Yeah,
Or is it that's
as
what's
is,
biting them and causing the plague?
Why would they be in the dead
mean, out of this
bodies? if they
Yeah,
were
Matt, I'm
biting
going to go check and see if I can find on any of the bodies, carefully, mostly with my stick, anything that is like a step between a dead body and this thing. I mean, are they like slowly changing, or is there any evidence that this thing might have once been one of the corpses?
Make some kind of roll.
You okay with medicine?
Sure.
Cthulhu mythos.
I'm going to push that.
Okay.
How do you push something?
Pushing it.
You make a second one. As long as you succeed on a hard roll, you pass.
What happens if you
And
fail?
It's up to the GM.
Yeah, it's basically left to keeper's discretion.
Yeah, so they can... Let's see. Keeper has free reign over the outcome, including damage, sanity checks, loss of equipment, capture, so on. Keeper can even incorporate the player's goal being achieved, but at some form of cost.
Right. But you didn't succeed on the second roll, so...
Correct.
Yeah. So you don't notice anything.
Okay.
Can I tell one of the gods to go fetch, like the rest of our group?
Sure.
The god and the Tiberius is a centurion, right?
Yeah, so Tiberius is breaking up, the domestic dispute.
Well, I'm watching Cedric break up the fight. I'm just like, fuck.
That's true. A guard comes over to you and says, "You're needed at the body dump."
He says that to who?
To both of you.
I think a pushed roll
And you
is
find
just a regular.
Decimus also. And he's like, "You're part of the team. You wanted."
Decimus just kind of.
Since we were just interviewing these people, I asked him if it was urgent, if we needed immediately.
Decimus just kind of blanches at the whole phrase "body dump." Like he's just kind of like not down at all with it. So he's kind of begrudgingly heading that general direction, but very slow and not wanting to go there at all.
He says Corvus says it's urgent.
Very
So
well.
Ben,
Well, then let's go dump some bodies.
So Ben, just real quick, a pushed roll, I don't see anything that says it's a hard roll. It's just a regular roll for success, but I would need to describe what I'm doing to push the roll. So I mean, we can just roll with it like I
No,
failed,
go for
but...
it. You can tell me how you're.
Well, let's say for the push that he was like maybe getting down.
You're gonna have
He's
to.
not using the stick anymore.
Getting down with the stick.
Getting down with the sickness. He's rolling up his sleeves a little bit and diving in there and like rolling some of the bodies over and checking things out. How about that?
Yeah. So, as bizarre as it sounds, it looks like this creature is somehow the animated skin of the plague victim.
Fucking burn that shit. Burn that shit right now.
Yuck.
Oh, but that means that
So
you have
nasty.
to burn them before the skin
Comes off.
Well,
That's fucked. That means there's 24 of these things out there, man. Fuck that.
At least.
They've just been animated and crawling off into the woods.
And they've grown teeth.
when Naeus comes up and out of the ditch and like explains
So it's
that.
more like calcified.
Yeah.
Those areas, it's almost like nails.
Yeah.
It's like calcified.
Well, that's what I was wondering, if they weren't the nails from the skin.
Ugh.
Like,
All right, let's not talk about it.
Gregorios
Yep,
kind of
they are.
approaches the edge of the ditch where Naeus is digging through bodies and examining them, and he says, "Well, what is it that you found?"
So I'll explain to them that my my idea here is that these are the skins of the dead corpses that have somehow animated. No idea what's causing it.
Why
So,
didn't your chicken say something about this?
Gregorios erupts in laughter.
Chickens.
When I'm pecking about eating their corn and feed.
Look, Arvis guy is just going to point at the you know, like at the body. He's going to say, "Well, then you tell me what this is."
yeah, I draw my sword and I start poking it.
Yeah, it's just nothing
This-
there now. Nobody's home.
So we burn them.
You have to burn them when the skin's still alive. We need to make sure to tell the
So
surgeon
all of them
guy.
are missing their skin. Is that the deal right now? Holy schmoly!
Oh, well then.
So it's too late to stop any of these. But yeah, we need to tell Abrax or whatever his name was what we found and let him know that they need to burn any corpses from this point out.
And we need to tell Corvus too, because make sure that he's in charge, that he oversees it. You know, make sure that. They don't
Well, we
fuck around
tell
with
you, and you can tell him since you're Centurion.
that. That's right. Respect your elders.
So that's probably a good place to stop on that
Alright.
cheery crossroads.
Nice.
Truly,
Oh boy.
stuff of nightmares.